boy. We are live. We got one person with one like. Hey, Simone, how are you? Janie, how are you? I hope everyone can hear me. Jesse, good. How are you? Please let me know if you can hear me. Jane, Simone, and Jesse. Buddy. All right, perfect. Jane always has a lag. She never hears me say hi. She always says hi to everyone before she says hi to me. What's up, DB Mac? How are you, my friend? DL Hemingway, how are you, buddy? Nicholas Carroll, how are you? Wesley September, there's Shackleneck. How are you, buddy? Don't get up on the desk. What are you doing? What are you doing? Jesus Christ. You see Tigger's tail? That's so funny. He's such a little dirt ball. What are you doing? Bye, buddy. I know it does. That's why I always say hi first to you, Jane, or whoever. And I always ask. I'm like, I bet you Jane won't hear me. For some reason, it always does. It happens to a few live streams I've noticed. Shackleneck, I hope you heard me. Nicholas Carroll, Gringo, how are you? DB Mac, Jacob Hillard. It happens to a few people. Autistic Mim, how are you? Troy, how are you? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what goes on. I don't know. The live stream I might have to end it a little early. I'm having kind of a family issue. I'm not really sure. So, all right. I'm glad that you heard me, Shackleneck. Glad that you're here with us, Autistic. Nice seeing you. Good seeing you. So I hope everyone's 4th of July was awesome. I hope you all had a good 4th. We got 30 people in, 12 likes. I've got some really pretty good lot lizard stories for you tonight. What's up, Kenneth? How are you? So I figure what we'll do is we'll do like maybe 1 or 2 experiences. That's a crazy experience, right, DL? We'll do 1 or 2 experiences and then we'll hit the lot lizard. Delirium, how are you, my friend? All right. So I got a stack, as you can tell. I got one encounter. I'm going to save this. This is pretty sick. Look how thick this is. But I'm saving that for an upload on its own. Just because it's pretty freaking good. So, all right. We'll start it off. What's up, San Francisco? How are you, my brother? Angelo, how are you? Well, I had an upload about 1.5 years ago exactly about that, Angelo. And I proved that it happened. And actually the 2 out of the 3 border patrolmen were actually killed. And it was in the news, but not Dogman. It was weird. I talked to Aramek. What's going on, buddy? How are you tonight? Thank you for popping in. I love you, Aramek. My brother from a different mother. Sam, how are you? Terry, Bob, do something diff. How are you? Robert Sharp, Desiree, how are you? So Tristan, so the majority of you guys know about it because you heard it, but it was crazy because Border Patrol agent reached out to me, shared an experience, crazy experience. They were watching. There was 3 Border Patrol agents watching. They were sitting up on a mound, and they were in the Rio Grande area of Texas, watching these illegals come across, and there was kids, women, children, women, children, kids, men, women, children. All of a sudden, they're watching and they're waiting for them to cross so they can detain them. And they're actually making sure so no one drowns either. But they see this dogman come out of the side of this like wooded area, and it literally attacks all of the people on land, people in the water. Terrifying experience. They shot it, killed it, or they thought they killed it. He doesn't know to this day. He never saw the body. But like a week later, 2 of the guys are dead. One of them died in a car accident, drunk driving accident. He never drank alcohol in his life. And the other one had a heart attack. And the guy who shared the experience with me, terrified, and he actually is of Mexican descent and moved to Mexico to get away because he knows exactly what went down. So pretty crazy experience. Everyone have a good 4th of July. How are you, Just B? John Rodriguez, how are you, my friend? SDL Lake 17, how are you? Will Rocks 175, how are you? Oh, thank you, Desiree. I wish mine was quiet. Hey, let me ask you guys something. I really need to pull the audience right now. So the upload that I did on Monday, where I was talking about the young woman who they found her body. She was from Arkansas. And it was a strange set of events. I never said it was cryptid related. I never said it was dogman related. I just said it's strange how the government is working. And someone said, because I said she was a beautiful young woman, they said that was fucking weird. Is that weird? Because she was pretty. And it's like, I'm like, it's a shame that a beautiful young woman like her was camping by herself. I was like, how is that weird? Like, I didn't say anything disrespectful. Did anyone hear that? And did you think it was disrespectful? That's what I thought. I was like, how is that disrespectful? Like, I try, like, when I record these and it's something about a person like that, I'm like, okay, I don't know this family, but if by chance they ever hear this upload, I don't want them to fucking get offended by anything that I say. So I try to, like, it was so weird. Thank you, guys. I just needed to make sure because it was so weird. Maggie Mayhem, how are you? G Queen, how are you? For context, I'm 28 currently. When I was 19, I had recently got out of a pretty bad personal situation and went to stay with my parents for a short time. Life was tough at this point. Long story, not as relevant. My parents live in Washington State in a very small rural town called Oso. A year prior, a large mudslide had occurred there, and it was a national tragedy. It's a valley between the mountains, and it is woody, swampy region. Both my parents were out late at the casino, so it was just me and their small dogs in the house. It was about 2 a.m, maybe 2:30. While I was watching TV, I heard what could only be described as a woman violently screaming for approximately 20 seconds. The dogs all went wild as a result. I didn't think much of it. Could have been a rabbit being killed close to the house or possibly a mountain lion. The problem is this occurred several more times and for long drawn-out periods. Against better judgment of every human being hearing this, I decided I should investigate. I donned a t-shirt, some shoes, not bothering with pants, just boxers, grabbed a 12 gauge and a flashlight, and out my way on the door I went. I made my way all around the house looking for the source of the commotion. Some noise on the far side of the house and proceeded that way. About 50 feet past the house was a large greenhouse that I had made to my way to. Recently, my dad and I had cut a large portion of woods past the greenhouse and pulled out stumps, leaving kind of a clear-cut wasteland. There were pools of standing water and mud left as a result. The moon was very bright and illuminated this area somewhat well. I shined my light over this area and found what I thought was the source of the noise. Two coyote pup were out in the area playing around and yipping under the moonlight. I watched them for a time and then decided I should probably pack it in and call it a night. However, this is when things got real weird. Something spooked the pups and they ran off, oddly enough, toward the road and not toward the remaining woods. I began to scan the area with the light, looking for anything worth note. That's when I saw it. Where the clear cut ended and the tree line began, I saw the reflection of a bright set of eyes peering out. It was sitting just behind the tree line, so its body was obscured by low-hanging pine branches. I was very familiar with this property, so I estimate that it was probably 100 yards or so from the creature to the tree line. Out of curiosity, I let the flashlight linger on the set of eyes for some time. Eventually, the creature shifted its focus to me and began to stare at me. At 19, I was not one to back down and began to move closer slowly while keeping the gun at the ready. Every step I would sink a little bit into that swampy ground. After moving maybe 30 feet closer, I began to feel a little uncomfortable as a couple of things occurred. Based on the height of the eyes and the blurry body shape in the dark, this thing was quite tall. The eyes were spaced oddly far apart, from what I could tell. The thing seemed to be gently swaying and would only blink occasionally. It never broke eye contact with me, and at this point, I felt almost an aggression towards it. At the time, I thought maybe I had found a person or something out there. I raised the shotgun and racked it, grabbing the live shell and feeding it back into the tube. I was hoping for some kind of reaction more than anything. I called out saying that I was armed. There was no response. With the gun raised and the light trained on the tree line, I moved even closer. At this point, the fear started to flood in, the hair on the back of my neck standing, and my heart beating faster. This whatever stood taller than I, had piercing yellow-greenish eyes, oddly shaped from what I could make out. I could only faintly make out the shape of its body and head, as it was obscured by the trees. Eventually, I reached the point where the ground was starting to give too much, and the mud was getting thick. I stood and simply had a stare down with this thing. Honestly, I was paralyzed at this point. It was not intimidated in any way. Even though it was probably only a minute or two that we were staring at each other, it felt like an eternity. My legs started to buckle, and I could feel a cold sweat forming on my neck. After screaming at myself internally, I began to back away slowly, not willing to look away from whatever this was. Eventually, after getting some distance away, the creature slowly backed away from the tree line into the forest. I could see the eyes sway with every step backward. After a couple of steps, I could no longer see it. In one swift motion, I flicked the safety back on the shotgun and sprinted back to the house with everything in my body. I could feel the mud kicking up with every step. Once I got in, I closed all of the windows and blinds and made sure everything was locked. Shortly after, the screaming noise happened a couple more times that evening. At the time, my parents did not believe me. For years, I tried to rationalize and come up with an explanation for what I encountered that night. Bigfoot? Maybe, I don't know. I didn't like sharing this experience as it made me feel really uncomfortable. About a year or two ago, I spoke with a friend's stepdad who is very high-ranking Tulip Native American. Told me that what I saw could have been some sort of shapeshifter or possibly Bigfoot Dogman, and that I would be possibly marked for life. I have had strange things happen on hikes once it gets dark around Diablo Lake. A couple of months ago, I was doing a water damage job for an older couple in Olympia, and it was starting to get really late. I went out to the van to grab some equipment, and out of the woods I could hear what sounded like a large dog being violently attacked or killed. I immediately told my lead we needed to leave and explained to him as well on the way home. He agreed that possibly I was marked by something supernatural. Wiley, how are you? Peter Griffin, how are you, my friend? Frank Morris, how are you? Maria? George Coker, how are you, buddy? Good seeing you. Julie, how are you tonight? There's Charles Whitmore. What's up, Chip? Kent Chip Rissell, how are you? Rolling the dice. Rolling losing dice. Outside in, how are you? Luke Thompson, what's going on, buddy? Rando, how are you? Monkey Poo Poo Coffee, how are you, buddy? Can demons ever change? No, I do not believe they ever change. That it's they're I don't know if they were created or what or however it works. I try to read as much theology as I can, but they do not change at all. They are, once you're a demon, I believe that you're always a demon. I think like once you've done so much evil, how do you turn back, you know? Forgot the old soda. What did I do? I did some fireworks with my daughter down by the river. And then worked. That's about it. Worked on the channel, read some stuff. Not much. Anunska, how are you? Maybe Eli. Maybe. Actually, oh my God, this is crazy. So, you want to hear? I had my first conversation with my second famous person. So I have no idea how or like what went down, but one of my favorite bands is they're called Dead Z. And the band is great. They're like a synth metal band. So like 80s synth meets metal. Really good band. Older band from back in the day. And the lead singer and guitar player is Elijah Allman. And he fucking reached out to me yesterday and said, "What's up, bud? How are you? All is good on the Western Front. Happy 4th." And I was like, holy smokes. Holy smokes. Couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, that is great. What's up, Andy? How are you, buddy? James, how are you? Gavin, how are you? Dude, I've loved Dead Z since 1999. Prince, how are you? But how crazy is that? And then I got all excited. I was like, oh my God, someone famous said hi to me. A fucking dork. So prayers my son. Crucible 50. Rando, yes, absolutely. Prayers for your son. I hope that he successfully makes it through. Aramek! Fucking Aramek. Gosh. You didn't email me. I was hoping that you'd email me. And I keep saying email me because I literally, for some reason, your email is lost in my computer somewhere. So please email me tomorrow. Please, Aramek. I've literally put in everything that I thought it was, and it is not. And this one goes out to my dear friend Aramic and his amazing research on flying cryptids, or one in particular, the Mothman. Lake 17, thank you so much. Wow, thank you so much. Appreciate that. It's true. I saw the Mothman, and no, not recently. Not one of these recent sightings that people are talking about. That is what made me decide to go ahead and share. This is so embarrassing. I mean, you go around telling people that you've seen a half human, half moth, or whatever this creature is, and they tend to look at you like you're crazy. But I did see them. Janie, thank you so much, dear. This was back in 2008, the 4th of July, 2008, Toledo, Ohio, which is Northwest Ohio, right in this corner on Michigan Lane, like right in Ohio / Michigan border line, excuse me. Okay, so we had just finished watching fireworks. All the cars were leaving, and we decided to sit back and just wait for the cars to leave so that we didn't have to fight with traffic and we could just hang out with the family a bit longer. My boyfriend at the time was laying on a blanket on his back, just kind of looking up at the stars, hanging out. But after a while, he looked up and he was like, hey, guys, what in the hell is that? So I was the first one to pay attention to him and looked up, and there it was. Like this plane going by, and I'm like, is that a plane? What are you talking about? He's like, no, that. And there it was, this huge black mass that was clearly blacking out from the light of the stars as it flew by, but it was flying very slow. I do remember that, like it was slowly flying, but not like a bird. Like a bird, when they fly fast. This thing was super slow and huge. Think how big you think a pterodactyl being. That's how big it was. And it had wings that were really thin, possibly like a pterodactyl's. That stuck out the most for me was its wings and how thin they were, almost see-through. Like they weren't see-through, but very similar to a pterodactyl. And the body was like a stubby, but not short, because trust me, this thing was huge, but it was not stubby in like a gargoyle way. That's what it did remind me of, a gargoyle with a pterodactyl wing. I don't know. This thing was weird. It was just plain weird. Randall Kennedy, thank you so much. So I brought the attention to my mom. My mom saw it. My brother saw it. It was funny because we all did the same exact thing. Like, is that a plane? What are you guys talking about? I looked my mom over and she said, it's a plane. I said, no, Mom, that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was. But I know for some reason, seeing it made me terrified, and it stuck with me. That fear stuck with me. And if you think about it, it's kind of irrational because there was no reason for to fear it. It wasn't coming towards us. It was just flying, and it could have been something else. But I know it wasn't because I seen it with my own eyes. Everybody was trying to tell me, oh no, it couldn't be the Mothman because we're not in Point Pleasant. That's in West Virginia. This is Ohio. Okay, well, now people are seeing these in Michigan. I'm ecstatic that people are actually reporting it because it validates what I've seen. Nobody wanted to believe me, but now people are actually coming forward and reporting on this. I didn't even know you could or knew how or what to do. I don't know at the time if I should call the police. There's some sort of weird Mothman, human-looking creature flying through the sky. I barely even wanted to tell my friends, let alone call the police or report it. How do you report something like that? But apparently there is a way because people are. Anyway, thank you for letting me share. There was a lot of likes in that. There was a lot of likes. Randall Kennedy, Janie, thank you. Lake 17, thank you. Aramic, I almost said Aramic has big fuzzy Mothman balls. No, Mothman definitely has fuzzy balls. Oh, shit. What's up, Darren K? How are you, buddy? Ben Sellers, how are you? Mindy, how are you tonight? Lurky, how are you? John Sumner. I've never heard of a demon becoming good. Never, ever. There's Tyler. How are you, buddy? What's up, Ryu? How are you? This is an Adirondack Council. It's been in 50 years. I donate money to the council to keep the Adirondacks pure and beautiful. Vanessa, thank you so much. I appreciate that. No, but I love the Adirondacks because I grew up here. But yeah. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Please email me on Sunday or Monday because I really need to talk to you about a couple of things. Is it time for a lot lizard story? Lot lizard. All right. So once again, for anyone that's new to the live stream, these are the only channels that are fictitious. I write these for the live stream, and that's why. So let me just make sure I get the good ones. Well, they're all good. All right, here we go. Now, for those of you who are new to the live stream, this all started about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, when it came out as a joke talking about like dumb shit. And I was like, the lot lizard is the most deadly cryptid in the world. A lot lizard is just a prostitute at a truck stop, but we have our own very own channel lot lizard, and her name is Lizo. So the Big Rig Oasis, nestled deep in the forgotten folds of nowhere, Arkansas, was a sanctuary of diesel fumes, lukewarm coffee, and the weary rumble of 18-wheelers. Its heartbeat to the rhythm of independent contractors and the occasional whispered offer of cheap companionship. Among the latter, Lizo reigned supreme. Not the Lizzo, mind you, but Lizo, a woman of formidable presence, a voice like gravel and honey, and a gaze that could peel chrome off a bumper. She earned her nickname not just from her robust stature, but from her unshakable confidence and tendency to burst into improv. Soulful renditions of old R&B hits while polishing her formidable collection of rhinestone-studded cowboy boots. One particular sweltering Tuesday, an unnatural shimmer began to ripple through the greasy air by the gas pumps. It wasn't a heat haze. It was more like 1,000 disco balls spontaneously combusting. A high-pitched collective giggle escalated into a maniacal cackle, and from the shimmering vortex that smelled faintly of glitter and regret emerged them. They were gremlins, certainly not the grimy, mischievous kind. These were immaculate, no larger than a trucker's fist, but dressed in bespoke limp jumpsuits, adorned in tiny tiaras, and sporting eyelashes that could sweep the dashboard clean. Their skin shimmered an iridescent hue, and they moved with an unnerving grace, snapping their fingers in unison. "Darling, finally," one shrieked, adjusting a miniature feathered boa. "This place is simply drab, all flannel and unchecked masculinity. It's a tragedy." Another, sporting a tiny top hat, chimed in. "Precisely. This truck stop needs a glow-up, a complete transformation. We shall bring them glamour." Their plan, whispered in a chorus of high-pitched, effective voices, was horrifying and absurd. They were the fabulous Furies, scouts of a particular gaudy corner of the underworld, tasked with turning the burly, grease-stained truckers of the Big Rig Oasis into a parody of what they themselves consider fabulous. They intended to strip away the flannel and replace with sequenced leisure suits, swap out old country music for show tunes, and install an unshakable desire for artisanal kombucha and competitive ballroom dancing. Their ultimate goal, to make every trucker a spontaneous improv dancer prone to dramatic poses and the instant demand of a bold lip. The first sign of trouble was when Big Hank, a man whose beard was its own ecosystem, was found at the diner attempting to order gluten-free sourced kale smoothie and a hint of artisanal activated charcoal. He then attempted a cartwheel, a very slow, very painful cartwheel. Then there was Slim Jimmy, who usually smelled of stale coffee and desperation, suddenly demanding to know if anyone had seen his bejeweled ascot, and critiqued the diner's lighting as terrible, unflattering for his complexion, darling. Lizzo perched on the stool at the counter, her eyes narrowed. She'd seen lots of strange things at the Oasis, but this was a front for a natural order of things. What in the rhinestone-studded hell is going on? She muttered, watching a trucker known as Grizzly Pete attempt to give himself a geometric haircut with a pair of rusty nail clippers. That evening, as the moon cast long shadows across the lot, Lizzo spotted those gremlins. They were flitting around the parking lot around a big rig, one of them attempting to bedazzle the tire with tiny self-adhesive gems, another trying to convince a bewildered trucker to trade his work boots for a pair of miniature patent leather tap shoes. All right, you little Liberace wannabes, Lizzo roared, her voice echoing across the parking lot, making a few startled pigeons take flight. She grabbed her trusty iron from her usual spot beside her worn sedan. What's your game? And why is Big Hank trying to audition for RuPaul's Drag Race in the men's room? The gremlins paused their nefarious redecorating, their collective gaze, usually filled with mischievous sparkles, hardened. Oh, look, chirped one. Its voice dripped in a disdain. A relic so unpolished. Indeed, another one added, fanning itself with a tiny sequenced fan. She simply screams no concept of an inner crease, Lizzo snorted. You want to talk creases? I'll show you creases. The ones I'll put in your tiny overpriced outfits if you don't skedaddle. The lead gremlin, who seemed to be wearing the most elaborate tiara, floated forward. My dear, you simply don't understand. We're here to elevate, to transform these brutes into beings of exquisite taste and refined. No more grimy hands, no more trucker hats, no more man-spreading, it stuttered. You're turning honest, hard-working men into prancing peacocks, Lizzo retorted, brandishing her tire iron. And I got no time for that kind of fabulousness. The gremlin scoffed. And what will you do with your uncultivated lump? Your strength is merely a lack of proper posture. Lizzo just grinned. Oh, honey, I got techniques these boys ain't never seen, and they involve a lot less glitter and more of an impact. The battle was, in a word, spectacular. The gremlins zapped her with beams of pure glamour, attempting to force her into a sequenced moo-moo. Lizzo, however, was unyielding as an overdue payment. She deflected their charm rays with the tire iron, sending them ricocheting back to explode into the harmless puffs of glitter. When they tried to make her do a jazz hand, she met it with a powerful two-handed swing of that tire iron and sent them scattering. She chased them with an impressive, surprising speed, her boots thudding across that asphalt as the gremlins zipped through the air, shrieking fashion critiques and threats of karaoke. One tried to trip her by conjuring up a tiny invisible dance floor, but Lizzo simply stomped through it, kicking up a shower of oil and dust. Another attempted to distract her with a sudden burst of an unheard show tune, but Lizzo, a true master of sonic warfare, countered with a full-throated rendition of respect that made the gremlins wince and clutch their tiny little heads. Finally, she cornered them near a diesel pump. Their iridescent forms trembled. All right, she patted, holding that tire iron. Last chance. If you don't leave these boys alone, get your tiny sparkling little asses back to wherever the hell your themed cabriolet came from. I'm going to teach you the meaning of truck stop chic with this bad boy. She tapped that tire iron menacingly. The gremlins, terrified by her raw, unyielding energy and the sheer lack of any discernible anticipation, shrieked. Ghastly horrid. We simply can't endure such authenticity. With the final collective shudder, they skedaddled into a single shimmering blob, then vanished into the night, leaving behind nothing but a faint smell of cheap perfume and scattered glitter. Next morning, Big Hank was back to his usual gruff self, complaining about about the price of coffee. Slim Jimmy was arguing about the merits of different brands of motor oil, and Grizzly Pete was attempting to remove a stubborn patch of mud from his boot with a pocket knife. The Big Rig Oasis was back to normal, its burly inhabitants blissfully unaware of the fabulous fate they narrowly avoided. Now Lizzo nursed her coffee watching them. She knew the truth. She was the unsung hero, the guardian of grime and grit, who had saved the truckers from an eternal life of forced show tunes and unsolicited fashion advice. She chuckled, a low rumble from her chest. Maybe, just maybe, a little bit of glitter was still clinging to her boots, but that, she decided, was the secret she'd take to her grave. After all, a little bit of sparkle never hurt anyone, unless, of course, it was forced upon them by flamboyantly gay gremlins from hell. Shauna Rain, about the jellyfish. I know that it was about a year or so ago. I think it's some sort of alien. Not really sure too much about it. Thank you, Aramic. Thank you. The flamboyantly gay gremlins from hell. Thank you. Hi, Rose. How are you? Amanda, how are you tonight? Happy birthday to you, Amanda. That's right. Happy birthday to Amanda. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Amanda. Happy birthday to you. Craigers, how's those rims, brother? Hercules Misfits. Dude, that's a cool name. I like that name, Hercules Misfits. That's like a bunch of muscle guys playing in a punk band. Did anyone get that? No, 59th. They were flamboyantly gay gremlins from hell. They were not hobgoblins. You are welcome, Amanda, and I'm glad that you're spending your birthday with us. Reed, are gray aliens good or evil? I would say evil. I think they're demons, to be honest with you, Reed. And I've said it a lot of times because I just, for some reason, I have a secret, ideas in my head that they are demonic. Daryl, how are you? I'm glad that you're here from Arizona. Delirium, how are you feeling tonight? Shawman's daughter. How about Hercules Goes to New York? Arnold's worst movie. Oh, shit. Happy birthday. 42. Wow, I wish I was 42 again. Wiley. Got it, Jeff. What did I get? Rose Holt, thank you so much, dear. Thank you. Did you get my reply to your email? I am very patient, and please don't ever apologize for anything like that. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate that. You are so awesome. Dan, how are you? Dan Gilly. I have no idea what that says, but I hope it says something good. Brian Mons, how are you? Buff punk rocker Hercules Misfit. Yes. Thank you. I didn't get it, Wiley. I didn't get it. I'm having one of those days. It's I cannot wait until my hair is fucking longer. I hate this. This is the ugly look right now. I fucking I just want to fucking shave it off or grow longer faster. The veil is thin. The veil is very thin. I agree. turning in Houston, Alaska. Keep up extensive work. Well, thank you, Shaman's daughter. I appreciate that. Houston, Alaska. God dang. That's like jumbo shrimp. Houston, Alaska. Wait. I look like Johnny Bravo again. Holy shit. Fix this shit. There we go. No. I look like Johnny Bravo. White hairless old man running on 4. Oh shit, Sean. Dang. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Lisa. Dang, where is that, Sean? Video of the creature jumped into trees so fast with really long arms. Little kid was pointing at it. That's a creepy video, yeah. I am Johnny Bravo. You ever seen that? There's like a spoof video that this black guy he's like pretending to be Johnny Bravo. It's on YouTube. It's like on their shorts. It's fucking hilarious. Definitely a crawler. I want to know where it was though. Astro Boy. I used to collect Astro Boy comics. Corinna Glover, how are you? Quagmire. Smitty, how are you? It is better looking. Better. I'd rather much look like Johnny Bravo than Shrek. To my office and be seen by the bigwigs. LOL. I look like a homeless person. Oh shit. Rock Island, Illinois. Where's Rock Island? Shackleneck, is Rock Island close to you, brother? GI Guns, how are you? Yes, it is a Mexican Coke. Very good eye. Very good eye. See, one thing I enjoy, I truly enjoy a good Mexican Coke now and then. Seen on TV of shape-shifting celebrities. I'm not really sure. I'm honestly not sure how I feel about that. Possibly demonic creatures. Other than that, I am not that sure. But yeah, Little Belly's having a night tonight. She's having a rough night. Liquid crystal polarization. Hang on one second, guys. Hang on, I got to give my daughter a hug quick. All right. Just had to give the kiddo a hug. I can't find those in section. I can't. Yeah. You can find any of them or the Mexican Cokes pretty much anywhere. Thank you, Janie. Craziest thing is he wouldn't have any idea what a cryptid is. No idea. That's fucking crazy. What's up, AG? How are you? Sully, I'll give you a hug any day. Rose, don't go to any family reunions. I'd never go to a family reunion. I do not like I love my daughters. I love them. I love my mom and dad. But other than that, I could care less about my family because they always fucking nitpick you or judge you. I don't like being judged by people. That's not cool. Don't judge me. Who do you think you are? Don't you judge me. Corpsey. Hugs all around. I subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate that, Shaman's Daughter. Appreciate that. We are getting closer and closer to the 100,000. We are like 1,200 and something away, guys. I cannot believe that. And I say we because it is we. Like, I've always, since I started this channel, I've always said it's our channel. Like, I don't say it's my channel or this and that, only when people piss me off, but that's very rare. And Jane has been with me almost since day one. And thank you, Angelo. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. I'm ready to become a Jetson. All right. Let's get into some encounters really quick. Here we go. Oh, I like this one. This one's good. This one is cool. Save that one. I got a couple of shorter ones. So, Aramek! Thank you, my brother. My brother from another mother. I wanted to let you know, Aramek, that I really, truly love that Garmin thing. Dude, that thing is so awesome. Like, I set that up. I thank you. Poppy, how are you? WLLC, how are you? All right, here we go. I never really shared this out of fear of ridicule, but I've been reading other people's encounters, and I feel safe to share. 10 years ago, I worked at Walmart in northeastern Ohio. I was doing a week of night shifts to help with inventory coming up. I had finished my shift, and I was on my way home about 6 or 7 on Sunday. There was a light fog, and on a 15-minute drive home, I passed maybe 3 or 4 other cars, just a very small, quiet town on Sunday morning. I was coming under the SR-82 overpass when a shape darted from my right-hand side across the road in front of me. I slammed my brakes, thinking it was a deer. I was slack-jawed and bewildered when I saw what looked like a shaggy, lanky dog with long, slender legs, greenish-grayish fur standing about 5 feet in height at the shoulder, if it was an inch. I could not believe what I was seeing. It finished crossing the road, heading west in the direction of a church right there, and I sat there for 10 seconds dead stopped on 193 northbound before I shook myself out of it and shakenly drove home. I tried to do some research, trying to find a sane answer for the closest. All I could find was something that looked vaguely like an Irish wolfhound. But I never heard of an Irish wolfhound being a cryptid. Maybe a dogman? Not really sure. Thank you. That's creepy. I love talking about chupacabra and El Chupacabra, and I think that they are cool. I love chupacabra. And this would be the North American chupacabra. The following is my encounter with what my family and I think was a genuine chupacabra. My family and I visited Cancun last year, and it was great. A relaxing vacation. The resort was beautiful and pretty big. One of the site restaurants was a bit of a walk through the resort along the ocean, and they had a little golf cart to haul people around. Very fun. On our first night, we tried this great restaurant. Didn't want to walk all the way back to our room, so we waited for the golf carts to pick us up. Pitch black outside and very little lighting on the walkways. There was tons of trees giving plenty of shade for this creature to hide. While looking around for the next pickup cart, I alone walked a little ways away, but immediately stopped when I saw what I believed to have been a chupacabra. It was just a shadowy silhouette running across the walkway. It looked like a huge dog with a bony rib cage with skinny deer-like legs and paws. It had a dog's snout and some real rough teeth. It was quick, but I can see some details. This was definitely not a normal dog. I ran back to my family and my girlfriend, trying to convince them of what I saw and that we needed a golf cart ASAP. They laughed at me and were intrigued, so they walked over to where I saw this thing. Behold, my girlfriend started freaking out as we both saw it again, running back into the bushes. It was freakishly running like a limp or bunny type movement. I'm just glad I wasn't the only one who saw it. The rest of the week, we didn't see anything like it again, but I know what I saw, and It could have been a chupacabra easily. This is one of those cryptids I will believe in for the rest of my life. Thank you. What goes over? The wolfhounds? Yeah, they're big, right? What, you ever seen the that TV show FBI, the FBI Worldwide or whatever it is, and they have I think it's a giant schnauzer. Dude, they are so cute. Giant schnauzers are so cute. Yeah, scientists they brought them back a while ago. Like, they're getting huge too. They've doubled in size. They're like 7 months old now, and they've doubled in size. Rolling losing dice. It's been proved. It's the company has proved it. They talk about it. They've interviewed them. It's a real thing. Never heard of it. Never saw it. Invaders. Dire wolves existed. They were real. Do some research. Look into it. Trust me. I wasn't being rude. Look into it. Trust me. They exist 100%. They're not a real full-blooded like dire wolf. They are a hybrid because they were bred. They were test tubed, but they were dude, there is skeletons. There, do some research. Like, research before talking, honestly. I'm not trying to be a dick, but like research before. They are real 100%. There is skeletons. Where do you think they got the DNA from? Like, it's just type in on Google. I would not like, I don't like talking bullshit. Like, they are, at first, I had a hard time buying it. And then I was like, and then I saw them, and then I heard the whole like scientific backing to it. And I was like, people were like, they aren't real dire wolves because the genetics, yes, the genetics, they are genetically dire wolves, but they were put into a large artificial they had to pick out a dog big enough to house a dire wolf puppy because they're so fucking big. And I forget the name of the company that did it. Joe Rogan interviewed both scientists that worked on it. He interviewed the woman twice. The name of the company, God damn it, I drooled. The name of the company that brought back dire wolves. Colossal Bioscience. Really cool. It's really cool. Bang! How are you? Bang! I don't know. I don't know if it was a good thing or not. I hope they never bring back the short-faced bear. I really hope they never bring back that. I don't know. Me and my dad talked about it. What's up, Rhonda? How are you? Thank you, Rose. Me and my dad talked about it, and I kind of got annoyed by people like saying they're playing God. They shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that. I don't think they're playing God. My view on that is if God never wanted us to do something, God wouldn't give us the brains and the ability to do it. That's the way I look at it. He created us and he gave us our brains to do things. We do that, like it's, I don't believe that they are playing God. I think they just did it to do it. I think it's cool that they did it. Believe that. I mean, I don't know how I don't want to see a dire wolf running through my fucking woods in the Adirondacks. No, thank you. Yeah. Saber-toothed tiger. What's up, Relic? How are you from Rochester? I love Rochester. 30 pack. What's going on? Rochester's great. I I love Rochester. There's a church in Rochester, in the city of Rochester, that has a bowling alley in it, like a couple lanes. And I went to school in Rochester. Speaking of that, for a year, I went to Athena High, if you know where that is. Relic 187. Rosebud Intuition, how are you? Wow, we got a lot of new people in tonight. Holy shit, 281, but only 144 likes. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Just kidding. Just kidding. What happened at my uncle's cabin? Well, I hope it's not what I think happened. No, I'm just kidding. I had a very scary experience happen to me in 2017 that has stuck with me throughout the years, and I'm wondering what it possibly could have been that I witnessed in those woods. I was about 16 at the time. I am half indigenous. I was visiting my uncle on my mom's side, the indigenous side, at his cabin located in the woods in northwestern Maine. Because I was driving my grandpa up to visit them for the fall season, the cabin is rather small and could only accommodate my uncle, my auntie, my grandpa, so I was told to sleep in the camper that was set further back in the woods. That evening went by as usual. Auntie made dinner, and we all laughed and shared stories and eventually turned in for the night. I took a flashlight and started my way out to the camper. About halfway down, I shut the flashlight off and looked up to admire the night sky. It was at this point that I noticed how quiet the forest had become. There were no birds, no sounds of crickets or rustling leaves, just pure silence. I suddenly got this intense feeling of dread deep within my gut, and the hair on the back of my neck stood up. The voice in my head told me to bolt to the camper as fast as I could. For some reason, my instincts told me I didn't belong there and something was watching me. When I made it to the camper, I slammed the door shut and double locked it, closing the window blinds. I swear I could hear my heart pounding in my ears as I laughed at myself for getting so worked up over nothing. The entire night I was restless in my sleep. I couldn't help but hear footsteps and movement all around the camper. I told myself it was just a curious animal or grazing deer, but my dreams were haunted by something I couldn't see. Unfortunately, this would not be my final experience of the weekend. By morning, all seemed normal. I thought about mentioning what had happened to my grandfather over breakfast, but I was worried that he would brush me off as being over dramatic or being too used to city life. I let the odd night slide off my mind as I enjoyed the day with my family and their big shepherd, Frank. Just to calm my nerves, I asked for Frank to accompany me to the camper that evening to ensure I felt safe. The walk back was once again fine until I began to enter the tree line. I'm not sure if it was because I was feeling nervous, but Frank seemed to be on edge as well. His ears perked up and was on a swivel. That night he slept in the bed with me in the trailer. I felt safer with the dog there. However, I had an extremely awful dream in which when I awoke, Frank was staring at the wall of the trailer with his hackles standing on end. When the morning hit, I packed my bags to leave in the afternoon and brought Frank out of the trailer and led him out to the small field behind the cabin to the thick woods. I was kicking a ball for him to excitingly chase, grab, and return. We continued this game until I kicked it a bit too hard and it rolled down the edge of the woods. Frank raced down to grab the ball until his full sprint turned into a full stop, digging his paws into the dirt meters past where the ball had landed. He was standing stiff, fur on end, ears pinned back and unmoving. I called for him to come, which he always responded to, but he didn't even acknowledge me. I began to walk down to where he was, calling his name a little bit louder, still to no response. I grabbed him by the collar, getting kind of worried at this point as his eyes stared directly into the trees. I yelled his name loudly, giving him a little tug. The forest went silent. Moments later, the silence was broken by an echo of my voice yelling back. However, this echo was delayed and distorted. It sounded like me, but was not me. I froze and looked into the dark woods, holding my breath, only for another scream to come out of the woods in my voice. I immediately turned and ran back to the cabin. I came to my auntie crying, trying to tell her that there was something out there in those woods. She comforted me and told me it must have been nothing, but she seemed as if that was not the answer she wanted to give. My family is very superstitious, especially myself, and I'm guessing she didn't want me overthinking anything. I left that afternoon and I have not been back since that weekend. A friend of mine told me to share this experience. I am not sure if I was dealing with a cryptid bad spirit or just an overactive imagination, but thank you for allowing me to share. How should I research for Dogman reports? I'm not sure. I just get them when they get sent to me. The airport has what's called lactation room. I didn't know what it was when I went in for the first time. They really do for feeding babies. Yes, that's creepy, right? Not really. Babies need to eat too. Who knows what other extinct animals? They're going to bring the dodo back. And they created like a woolly mouse. They didn't bring it back. It was never a thing. They wanted to see if they could do the deed, and they created this woolly mouse that people are raving about. They want as pets because it's cute, I guess. But they're going to bring back the dodo bird. Tell you about the two hikers I'm trying to. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate that. Should they? I don't know. I don't know. We have a new viewer, Vader76. He says. Well, thank you, Vader76. I don't know if they should or not, to be honest with you. I Rocky Michaels, I don't know. I'm at that kind of thing. Like I did me and my dad, like I said, I talked to my dad about it and how I felt, and I wanted to get his take on it. Because I was thinking my dad was going to say, they shouldn't play God. And I don't think they should have created something that didn't exist. But if they can bring the dodo back, I think that's pretty fucking cool, if you ask me. I think it's very interesting. I don't know. God wouldn't give us this great brain that we have if he didn't want us to use it for cool things. That's just the way I feel. Vader74, how are you? The woolly pig? That'd be funny. Or the most dangerous recreation, the woolly X. Everyone has a woolly X that they don't want. Aramek! Blessings. Thank you, Aramek. Northern Minnesota wolves are very large, long-legged, 120 pounds, pups. So, how many packs is that? There's not that many. There's not that many. Even doing the math, there's not that many. I don't want to see a T-Rex with long arms. Fuck that. Rolling the dice. It doesn't. It's like a luck of the draw, I guess. I live in Fairbanks, Alaska for over 50 years. I did a couple in Fairbanks that were shared with me by people, and that is crazy. Kelly Johnston, how are you? That is very crazy. That's awesome. Would you send me an email, Richard? Because I'd like to hear what you heard out of Alaska, just to compare notes, if you don't mind. The woolly lot lizard. Because I've had maybe 7 or 8 really good Alaska experiences. I just want to hear more. Yvette, how are you? I hope you had a great 4th. Squitter Hyena, how are you? I am wondering what everyone thinks Dogman actually. I need theories. Why do you need theories? Don't you have your own? They didn't make a woolly mammoth. They thought about doing it. They thought about doing it, but they have not done it. What do we talk about here? I share experiences. We talk about everything and anything. Really great community here. Really great people in the audience. I'm fishing in Alaska right now in Annette Island. Holy shit. Dang it. AG, you know I want to see that. You know I want to. Walter, how are you, my friend? Shauna Rain, I've heard the same thing, and I don't know. I know that Kirk Stokes caught something on his camera, but not on a cell phone. I've caught some weird shit on my camera, not on my cell phone though. While I was up where Tom Mezek disappeared, but I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. My trail cam, Sully, speaking of that, you're right. Had black-eyed children exist last? Had a black-eyed children experience. Did you really, Yvette? Holy cow. Send that my way, please. I love black-eyed experiences. My trail cam, so I imagine, Sully, you remember when I shared, I had 4 videos, and I put my trail cam up where Tom Mezek disappeared. And I left it. I just left it alone, and I went back a month later, and it only kicked on 4 times. And it only kicks on with movement, right? So the first one it kicked on, and it was just showing like the woods with nothing around it. The next time it kicked on, it kicked on like a day later, almost around the same time. It kicked on with condensation on the camera itself. So like you could just see condensation and the outside the woods. Then it kicked on a deer, or an ass end of a deer was walking by it, which made no sense to me because how I had it, it was overlooking a valley thing. So the deer must have like fucking finagled its way up there. So that I was like, okay, so it is working with movement. And then the last time it kicked on, there was nothing. It was like just a black screen, and it wasn't at night. It was like at 9 a.m. It just black screen, and I was like, what the hell? So I'm probably going to put them up again this year. What's up, Haunted? How are you, my brother from another mother? Tell them stuff they're not interested in. Oh, shit. Orion, how are you? I'm not really sure what I got in the mix tonight, to be honest with you. That was fucking great. That was great, Aramek. Tina Marie, how are you? I wish I was going to get Dogman smarter than Bigfoot? No, definitely not. I would say my own personal view, no. Dogman definitely not as smart as a Bigfoot. Bigfoots are highly intelligent. Who smells worse? Out of what? Me or Aramek? Just kidding. Did I get sunburn? Nope. No sunburn here. Jimmy, how are you tonight, though, brother? How's the book coming? I doubt that. I doubt that, Hercules. I actually no. Here's something in been seeing a lot of giant videos out of Mexico lately. Those are older. I haven't seen any new ones recently. Those are a lot older. Within like the last couple of years. They resurface. Videos resurface for some reason. I know you do. I know you do, Jimmy. I love you, brother. I love you. I love you. How do I get Dogman population numbers? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I miss old YouTube. Me too. Me too. Wait, 59th. Is it your birthday tonight? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear 59th. Happy birthday to you. Dude, happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to 59th and Amanda. Awesome stuff. Belle, if you're watching tonight, if my daughter's watching, I love you too. I can't text you, so stop texting me. I love you, you little bastard. He did not. He did not. I the numbers were something like 24,000 or something like that, I believe. I will. I'm going to do one more experience and then we'll do it. You guys saw, I know 3 Cat Moms saw the picture of Isabel in the, so I got to share this story. I shared the picture of Isabel because she finished school. She's a little smart kid. 2 years and 1 year. Daddy homeschooled her. But she went to the ocean, and I love this story. She calls me up, Daddy, there's a sea ray swimming around me. I'm like, really? Take a picture of it. She goes, okay. I go, send it to me. She sends it to me. I go, buddy. I go, that's a horseshoe crab. I go, that's not a sea ray. Or yeah. I'm like, that's a fucking horseshoe crab, bud. I'm like, what are you thinking? Holy cow. I thought I'd discuss me and my sister's experiences regarding the unusual. Anyway, here we go. My sister and I were talking late at night, well, for us anyway, at around 10:30 on a school night. I was about 14 while my sister was about 11. So we were aware enough to know what is going on. Conversation between myself and my sister unnaturally slowed to a felt tension, a sort of uncertainty in the air, like we didn't know what to say and lost the flow and know-how in what we were talking about. 15 seconds later, after a sudden pause, we both had an uncomfortable feeling to look to the right of the room near the bed, where we saw a black cloaked figure with gray eyes, gray teeth, and 2 what I can only describe as lanky, sharp hands that peeked over the bed where my feet were lying. It had an awkward shaped body, like a gelatinous mass. I know what I saw, as we both had this sudden urge to look at that particular corner in the room, not knowing it was there despite an eerie occurrence. I've never truly experienced fight or flight response until that moment, and my brain could not process what I saw except get the hell out of there. Once we got out, we swiftly closed the door and screamed so that we could wake our parents up immediately. Obviously, both my parents didn't know how to react as we were both jumping up and down uncontrollably in fear and shock. We told them what we saw, and luckily, my mom is quite spiritual after she claimed to see fairies in the nearby woodland. She managed to use incense and smudge around the room while saying some words that I don't remember. I must note that from previous occurrences before the event, I personally have experienced some sort of unusual stuff in the house, but only downstairs. I'll tell you quickly, but I suppose they can easily be brushed off, but in contrast, potentially vital into identifying whatever this creature was. We used to have big double doors that separated the living room to dining room. Scraping was often heard across the glass on the door at night and was terrifying when I had sleepovers, as we would just sleep in the sofa. Major creaking and some light moans in the utility room were often heard. Now, since the major encounter, I haven't reported anything, and I still live in the house, even though it wasn't so long ago. Thank you. All right, here we go. This song goes out to 59th and Amanda. Happy birthday. Because $20 is $20. Happy birthday. You are never late, Bluefish. As long as you are here, you are never late. You did, Jimmy. You did. Shit. I am getting good with the shofar, brother. I am getting good. Where am I? I live in the Adirondacks. Dude, Andy, you know what I was going to say when I was reading that? I was going to say, when they said heard moans in the fucking utility room, I was going to be like, that was your mom and dad. My birthday's in September. September 16th is my birthday. Lake George. Lake George is where I live. Glens Falls, Lake George, Saratoga region. When is the channel's birthday? March 24th. My dad's birthday, March 24th. You too, AG? Yeah, I started the channel on March 24th, strangely enough. Oh, that's close to your Ames. I don't know what Ames is. AIMS. Sonny, how are you? Tigger's birthday is May 28th. Tiffany Cooper, how are you, dear? Amy, oh. Jeff, you think Dogman are used as super soldiers? Yes, I've done uploads on that, Shauna Rain. Yes. I think that the government has not created them. I do not believe the government created them. I think the government has used them, chipped them, and just like humans. Sonia, how are you, dear? How are you? Glad that you're here with us. Dan, today's Dan's birthday too? Dan, is today's Dan's birthday? Did I miss that? I think someone said today's Dan's birthday. Is Dogman, is it the Dogman or government? I don't understand what that is. Is it the Dogman? What is Dogman? Dogman is Dogman. Dogman is Danny. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Danny. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Dogman is a canine cryptid that is somewhere between 7 to 8 feet in height. Strange hocked legs and a tail, a large canine mouth. Pretty much what people think a werewolf is, but there are two different species. Werewolf is very human-like with a muzzle, very similar to a Bigfoot. Picture Beast of Seven Shoots and no tail. Did you know, Hercules Misfits, that came from my channel? Everybody said that. Everybody, before Victor came on my channel, everyone said that werewolves had tails. And then Victor came on my channel and said Victor was a lying piece of shit. And now Victor's gone. Everybody says on their own channels what Victor said. Stacy Lockett, how are you, dear? Well, thank you, Hercules. I appreciate that. I learned stuff every day from you guys, to be honest with you. Dude, I still cannot believe that fucking Elijah Allman texted me, like, out of the blue on Instagram yesterday. Happy birthday, he says. All is cool on the Western Front. I was like, whoa, Nelly. Besides Chino and Mike Patton, he is one of my favorite singers. What does Lord of the Rings and Brokeback have in common? Somebody's ring gets destroyed. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. That is, yes, that is good. Yes, I am still, the book is with the publisher, Nikki. I'm still waiting on it. It's been done. I finished it. It got sent back. I was told to revise the intro, take 2 chapters out, and revise the last part of the book. I did and sent it back, and now it sits. Are vampires real? As far as I know, yes. As far as I know, yes, they are. I believe they are. They don't suck blood like the atypical Dracula or whatever. But they suck energy. They live on energy from people. Lady Jane, you're going to bed tonight? Oh, Janie, I love ya. Have a good night. Is Pups? Pups isn't here tonight. Where's Pups? No Pups? Is Lucifer good-looking human being with blonde hair? Don't know. Never seen him. Never seen him. I imagine that he can be anything he wants to look like, to be honest with you. That's just my own. He's a demon. So he can definitely, he probably looks like my ex-wife. Yeah, definitely like my ex-wife. Yes, Hercules. What's the worst part of being a panda bear? Being white but no privilege, being black but not good at sports, and being Asian and unable to do math. What the fuck, Delirium? That is terrible. Oh my god. Oh shit. You can't until it's ready. Lucas Williams, how are you? Did it just drop today, Wolf Moose Bear? Wolf Moose Bear. Dude, what is... I'm not even reading that aloud. Enki, how are you? Gringo! Thank you, Mr. Gringo. What's gray monster with horns? Probably the goat man. How do portals open up? No idea. No idea. Honestly, fucking God. Oh, man, I'm laughing at a joke, not at you guys. Randall Kennedy, have a great night. Thank you for everything. I appreciate you. Thank you. Well, yeah, I agree. Outside in, yes, energy. And if you, I've shared this before. I don't think that's a real video. I think it's a fake video. Shauna Rain, there are a lot of videos on YouTube, and I'm gonna check it out. Wolf Moose Bear. The majority of videos that are on YouTube, I would probably say 95% are fake. There was one where a dog man was running around the woods and it said property of the United States government, like a little fucking insignia thing. And people were going nuts and like, it's so real. And I'm like, how are you guys not like you can see it's fake. There's not too many, even the videos that I share that I find on YouTube just to share, I will, and that's the reason why I never say they're real. I don't say they're real. The one video that I know and really respect, there's two videos on YouTube that I think are real without a shadow of a doubt. One is Scott Carpenter's, and two is Kirk Stokes. And those guys, to me, both got great videos. Other than that, I honestly, I don't believe anything that I see video-wise on YouTube. I got the can, and I got the can, and I had to do the can because it has Darth Maul on it. I've shared plenty of stories that are like a werewolf as we know it on this channel, Lauren P. Yes, Frank. Yes, I will. Actually, I will text you this week. Ask Jimmy, Mr. Haunted. I've had I am so behind on shit right now. I apologize. You know what time it is right now, though? Is it time? All I need is 2 yeses. All right, here we go. These are the only fictitious stories you will hear. The fluorescent glow of the Flying J truck stop cast a sickly yellow over the asphalt, illuminating the idling engines, forgotten dreams, and the ever-present hum of 18-wheelers. Amidst the symphony of solitude and exhaust fumes, Lizzo held court. Not the chart-topping Lizzo, mind you, but Lizzo the lot lizard. a woman of generous spirit, a rapier wit, and set of heels that defied the laws of physics on cracked pavement. Her domain was the Greasy Spoon Diner, the shadowy corners of the parking lot, and the hearts of more than a few lonely truckers. Chief among those hearts was Earl. Earl was a man built like a Kodiak bear, with a beard that could host a small family of squirrels and eyes that, for all their world weariness, softened to puddles whenever Lizo sashayed into view. He drove a rig named the Steel Magnolia, and swore Lizo was the closest thing he had to a queen. Their love, forged in a crucible of truck stop coffee and late night whispers, was as unlikely as unbreakable. One particular humid Tuesday night, a new kind of darkness rolled into the Flying J. It wasn't just a storm clouds gathering on the horizon. It was the arrival of a woman who looked less like a traveler and more like a disgruntled Halloween decoration. She wore a pointed hat that seemed to defy gravity, a cloak the color of a week-old roadkill, and carried a gnarled staff that sparkled with a faint purple energy. Her name, if anyone had dared to ask, was Agnes Periwinkle, and she was, to put it mildly, having a bad day, or rather, a bad century. She simply hated truck stops, the noise, the smell of diesel fumes, the ceaseless clatter of humanity, and most of all, she loathed lot lizards. Agnes watched from the shadows as Lizo, in her shimmering, slightly too tight dress, leaned into a trucker's window, her laugh echoing with unbridled joy. "That's it," Agnes muttered, her face puckered like a dried prune. "The final straw." She stalked toward Lizo, her staff tapping menacingly on the asphalt. "Well, looky here," Lizo purred, turning her face as the approaching figure came. "Lost your way to the Renaissance Fair, sugar?" Her voice laced with her usual sass, unafraid of anything the road could throw at her. Agnes's eyes narrowed. "You harlot of the truck stop, of the highway, reek of impropriety and cheap perfume. This den of inequity offends my very being." She raised her staff. A sickly green light emanated from the tip. Lizo scoffed. "Honey, you think I reek? Have you smelled the men who come through here? I'm practically a rose garden." She winked at the passing trucker who honked his horn in appreciation. That was the last straw for Agnes. "Wretch! For your insolence and your pig-like existence, you shall become what you truly are." With a shriek that sounded like rusty hinges, Agnes thrusted her staff forward. A beam of green light enveloped Lizo. Lizo felt a curious tingling, a sudden shrinking sensation. Her carefully coiffed hair bristled into coarse bristles. Her dress became stretched and then ripped as her body compacted. Her legs thickened, her nose elongated into a snout. Her high-pitched oink burst from her throat as she crumpled to the ground. No longer Lizo the lot lizard, but a plump, squealing pink piglet, still sporting Lizo's signature fiery red lipstick mark on her snout, though now smeared. Chaos erupted. Truckers stared, bewildered. Earl, who had been enjoying a particularly good slice of pecan pie in the diner, heard the commotion and burst out, wiping crumbs from his beard, and his jaw dropped. His Lizo was a pig, a small pig covered in what looked like tattered pieces of Lizo's dress. "Lizo!" he boomed, disbelief warring in honor and horror. The piglet oinked furiously, stamping a tiny hoof. It was Lizo, all right. No one else could look so furious and yet so utterly out of place as a farm animal. "You old hag!" Earl roared, turning to Agnes, who was cackling maniacally. "What did you do to my woman?" Agnes merely shrugged, a smug grin on her face. "She's exactly where she belongs. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a particularly nosy busload of senior citizens to deal with down the road." With a final flourish and a puff of smoke that smelled faintly of sulfur and burned coffee, Agnes Periwinkle vanished. Earl knelt, his massive frame dwarfing Lizzo. Oh, Lizzo, my sweet, sassy Lizzo. The pig nudged his hand with her snout. A mournful oink escaped her. This was some stranger's pig. This was Lizzo. The way she nudged him, oh my God, I can't speak. Why can't I fucking speak my own words? The indignant twitch of her non-existent eyebrows. It was all her. His mind raced. What did you do with my pig-turned woman? He scooped her up gently. She squirmed, still oinking. All right. Easy there, darling. We'll fix this. Back in the cab of the old steel Magnolia, Earl tried everything. He offered her a slice of his pecan pie. She snorted at it. He tried talking to her about the life. She just grunted. He even tried some of his emergency pork rinds, which earned him a particularly disgusted squeal. Then he remembered Lizzo. Lizzo loved karaoke. And she loved his singing. He wasn't good, not by any long shot, but she always said his heart was in it. Lizzo, he said softly, looking at her curled up on a passenger seat, a tiny distressed ball of pink. Remember that Kenny Rogers song you love, The Gambler? The pig's ears perked up ever so slightly. Earl took a deep breath. In a gravelly off-keen baritone, he said, You gotta know when to hold 'em, when to fold 'em. And he sang it through, making up for his lack of vocal talent with an immense feeling. He sang about truck stops, about the highway, about long nights, and about Lizzo. He sang about her crazy, unconventional love that made sense only to them. He poured every ounce of devotion into that song. Midway through the second verse, a faint shimmer began around the piglet. Her snout seemed to shorten, her bristles softened into hair. Her tiny little hooves elongated into feet, and Earl, utterly absorbed in his serenade, barely noticed until the piglet on his seat began to glow. He finished the song in a triumphant flourish. As the last note faded, the light intensified, and a familiar groan came from that passenger seat. Earl, for the love of all that's holy, stop that caterwauling. You're going to blow my eardrums. Earl's eyes snapped open. There, sprawled across his passenger seat, was Lizzo. Her dress was ripped in several places, her hair a mess, and there was a faint, lingering smell of pigsy about her. But it was her. Lizzo, you're back, he practically roared, pulling her into a big bear hug that threatened to break her ribs. Lizzo, though still a little dazed, managed a weak grin. Well, I certainly wasn't going to spend the rest of my days rooting for truffles and being mistaken for bacon, though I must say, she patted her stomach, I feel strangely refreshed and have a craving for mud. She paused and looked at the ripped remains of her outfit. You owe me a new dress, Earl, and maybe a bath, a long, long bath. Earl just laughed, his eyes shining. Anything for you, Lizzo, my beautiful, sassy, occasionally a pig Lizzo. From that day on, Lizzo had a new story to tell, one that would make even the most hardened trucker spit out their coffee. And Earl, he just knew no matter what strange, magical, or absurd challenges the road threw at them, his love for Lizzo was strong enough to turn any pig back into his queen, even if her favorite scent now was a subtle undertone of freshly tiled earth. What's up there, Wolf? That's awesome, Smitty. That's great. Sully, holy shit. Thank you, Sully. Gringo, I got your email. Thank you. But Sully, thank you. You know why I'm thanking you, brother. You know why I'm thanking you. You're welcome, SDL. You're welcome. I'm gonna talk to Dark Waters. Because Dark Waters is the only person that I know that actually turned a story into a comic book, and that's The Siege at Lockett Ranch. And I'm gonna ask him how he did it and who he worked with, because I honestly thought about doing Lizzo book, but I think the comic book, if I could somehow do a comic book, would be awesome. One, because I love comic books because I'm a mega dork, but I think it would be better to have it as a comic so people could see Lizzo, like with that one, like see Lizzo turn into a pig and see Agnes Periwinkle, like how fucking cool would that be? Movie Doom? Yes, yes. Is Sully still here? Ah, there you are. Sully, thank you. Did you know there is an ancient map that exactly matches Atlantis with the ancient meteor seamount? Yes, I did, Enki. I did. There's an ancient map that good night, Rose. Have a good night, dearie. You can't get it anymore, DL. You can't get a copy of the comic. It was only like, and it was only put out once and once alone. I got mine from him. It was his personal copy. The map, there's a map that, oh Jesus, hang on. The Borga map. There's like a bunch of the Borga or the Peri Reese map or the Urbano Montes. Those are all maps that are like super old. The Borga map, created in the 15th century, is I want a copy of this. I need a copy of that map for my wall. I don't know why I have a thing for maps. Shout out Vern and the Malibu, California submersibles. Shout out Vern. I have no idea what I'm shouting out, but shout out. Shout out. Have we been hoodwinked by... Whoa, guys, did my screen just go choo-choo? Choo-choo? What's below the Pyramid of Giza? I do not know. It did, Widmore, right? That was fucking weird, right? Dude, I don't know. Truth Quest. Yes, I love maps. I've always, like, if I had my dream job when I was little, I think it would be like to be a person that dealt with maps. I used to think it was like a topographer, but it's a totally different name. Reed, definitely do not use Ouija boards, please. And you do not want a malevolent ghost in your home. Please do not, like, that. Those are bad things to ask for. Like, if you want a scary movie or if you want a scary video of a place that's very haunted, watch my video when me and Isabel, my youngest daughter, went to the Conjuring house. Mr. Haunted, who is in the chat right now, he worked with Ed and Lorraine Warren. He also was friends with Father Malachi Martin from Hostage of the Devil. And Father Malachi was killed by Old Scratch, which was the devil. So please, please, please. And I've shared my experience with the Ouija board, and truly, I think that night, if we didn't play with the Ouija board, I wouldn't have my illness, and my cousins would still be alive. So, and my cousin was one of my closest friends who I fucking miss to this day. Cartographer, thank you, Shackleneck, thank you. We're going to be doing another one, Colleen. We're going to be doing another one. Share it again. All right, I'll share it really quick. My experiences, I grew up in the Adirondacks all my life. There's a video of my family farm. The town that I grew up, PG, how are you? The town that I grew up in was named after my mom's side of the family. It was called Jacobyville at one time. It's now South Glens Falls. And that part of the half of it is all farmland. So we're down at this old barn. It's a really old barn. It's decrepit now, since all my family members on that side have passed away, and the barn is just, the whole field got sold. Everything got sold. So we're down there. I was like 14 and had a mullet with angel wings, always wearing a Slayer shirt. Just thought I was fucking rad. So we would play with the Ouija board all the time. And it was, school had just started again, and it was the weekend. We're down there. It was my cousin Mel, my cousin John or JR, and our friend Nikki. And we had these old milk crates that we would stack up. So we'd stack 2 milk crates up and then sit on a milk crate. And we'd put the Ouija board down and we'd play with the Ouija board. So it would mess with us. And this was well before the internet. This was 30-something years ago, 34 years ago. And it kept spelling out OZ, OZ, OZ. And we're dumb. And we're like, Ozzy? We're talking to Ozzy? Little did I know, and didn't put together until years later, OZ, OZ, ZO, ZO. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So it said we were going to see the devil and some bad shit. So that night, the plastic warped out into a face that looked very similar to a demon. The next night, we're back down there, and like, I would be down at the farm all the time. I'd ride my 4-wheeler or 3-wheeler, whichever I wanted to ride from my parents' house to the farm. It was only right down the road, and didn't have a curfew because my parents really didn't care. So it was late, and we go back to play again. Now it's fall, so the pigs are inside of the farm, or inside the barn now, because we have these little stanchions. Now the barn was just an auction barn, so they raised animals to sell at the auction. So there's a lot of hog. And one night we realized that where we would play in this barn was next to a stall where the pigs were, where this one sow was, and all her litter was born dead, all of them. For some reason, my cousin Mel put blood of one of the dead piglets on the Ouija, and we played. And it said we were all going to die, and we were all going to see the hounds of hell. So we stopped playing. There's a hole in the first floor of the barn for a hay chute. So I'm the smallest and youngest. My cousin lifts me up and puts me through. I grab it and I climb up, and I throw down a hay bale, throw down another hay bale. There's no lights in the upstairs in the hayloft because it's very old. It's very dry, and any spark, the whole fucking building would go up. So my great uncle never put any electricity up there. So I'm throwing a hay bale down, and I hear this scuttering in the hay, and behind me is the opening to the outside where I can go down an old metal ladder, and then behind that is the opening to a an outdoor kind of pig lot where there's like 50 pigs. So it's some light, not a lot of light, but some light. So I hear this noise and I turn to look and I see this like black figure, this silhouette running at me. And I'm 14, I'm young. I used to think I was a badass, but I was like literally a little girl. And I fucking jump down. I land in the fucking gutter. So I land in cow shit and cow piss. And my elbow hit the cement. And I remember looking up, and they all looked up because they just watched me fall through the ceiling. And this hand kind of swooped up. So we all took off running. Now, my cousin Mel was like 18 at the time, and he was like my fucking brother, like the strongest person I knew, fucking just everything to me. We run to his house. My dad's there. My dad's talking to my great uncle, and they come down. My great uncle and my dad come down. My dad's got a rifle. My uncle's got a shotgun. They go up in the hayloft. Nothing's up there. They yell at us because they see the Ouija board, and we put it away. So we get done with the chores and we go up to my cousin's house. He had the whole downstairs. The basement was his room. So we had like a bathroom, a pool table, foosball, and couches in his bedroom. So it was like an open setup. It was pretty cool. So we're all down there and we all crashed there for the night, right? And it said we were going to see hounds of hell and we were all going to die very young. So that night, my cousin Mel and JR woke up all sweaty and like said they had dreams of like the hounds of hell chasing them. Later on, I had my Dogman encounter in 1994. So 2.5 years later, I interpret that as possibly the hound of hell. Then my cousin John, JR, dies of cancer. He was 24, like healthy as a fucking ox, and then just dies. Then Nikki, he's spiritually and mentally dead. Like he's probably got AIDS or something because he's a drug addict. Last we ever knew, he was a drug addict living on the streets and a male prostitute. Like and this kid was so good looking. Like he was a good looking kid. Like he could get like any beautiful girl, but I don't know what happened, but he turned to drugs and started selling his man vagina. So his butt, and on the streets. So he's probably very sick and spiritually dead. We know that still to this day, or I know that still to this day. My cousin Mel was crushed. He was crushed on New Year's Day by a fucking dump truck that he was working on. It crushed his head. And then I got diagnosed with a terminal illness, manageable by medication. So when I started this channel, I was really sick. I weighed like 113 pounds and was not supposed to be here. And that's my Ouija board experience. And then that connects to my Dogman experience. Good thing, PG. I don't think they're after me anymore, Aramic. I think I've long turning my life over to Jesus, and other things. It's, I think I've literally just succumb, the everything, like I think if worse came to worse, I probably shouldn't have gone to the Conjuring house. But I don't know. Thank you, Cosmic Shift. Thank you. I'm just checking on Jane really quick. All right. '61, PJ. You don't look at older than 29. Steph, how are you, Steph Davis? Sorry, what's up, Mr. Rollins? I don't know if she hasn't texted me back. Daphne, how are you? I'm glad that you're here with us, Daphne, man. Anytime I tell that experience, my cousin Mo was like literally, he was my fucking world. Like I didn't have an older brother to look up to. And like I thought he was it, like he was my fucking world. And when he got crushed, it still makes me sad, like thinking about it. I think about all the great times we had growing up. We had like this 1978 Camaro that we used to drive up to Lake George and try to score girls that were way better than us. And he had a 350X three-wheeler with a super trap header on it. And just, he taught me music, like, fuck. My boyfriend and I went on a cross-country road trip for a month. We converted a minivan and slept a lot of dispersed. I keep drooling, sorry. My boyfriend and I went on a cross-country road trip for a month. We converted a minivan and slept at a lot of dispersed and free camping. So we were out in the middle of nowhere most of the time. We had a lot of weird experiences and are trying to figure out what happened and if we should be worried. Here is a short documented cases. On Muddy Creek Road, Aramaic! Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Wow. You guys are so kind. Thank you. Muddy Creek Road, Colorado. Weird sense of unease. Woke up in the middle of the night and left. Felt like something was watching us. Mesa Verde, Colorado. Deafening silence and feeling unease near religious sites. Red dots on my arm. They didn't go away until the second we left. Abandoned gas station near Capitol Reef, Utah. Blurry photos, creepy feeling, multiple screams coming from one source, and birds seemed to be going insane. Did not feel comfortable talking about it. Joshua Tree, California. Scratching on the van, human-like footprints around that my boyfriend could barely hear, but I could hear them clearly. Coyote calls, but no tracks. Distinct feeling of loss. Sense that if we looked out the window, something bad was going to happen. Tetons, Wyoming. Flat tire when we got to the campsite. Couldn't sleep with weird, uneasy feeling, and my skin hurt to touch the second I got out of the van. Coyotes began to call at around 12, sounding like they were fighting something. I started talking in my sleep at around 1. We really didn't want to turn our backs to the windows. Heard something hitting the back of the van multiple times and footsteps around the van. Strange noises and what seemed to be talking. When my boyfriend woke me up to leave, I was convinced people were at our campsite. When we started to leave, there was absolutely no noise around us, not even insects. When we pulled back the curtains, there was a fire in the fire pit, despite us dousing it 3 times with water. Before we left, we got out of the van and put it out again. That reminds me of Janie's experience. And Jane's is very similar. Her and her husband had just gotten married. They had their 2 dobies with them. And they had pulled off in nowhere land, camped out. They had a fire. They went to bed. Of course, they put their fire out. They went to bed, right? The dogs started acting really crazy. 2 Doberman Pinschers. They were so afraid they peed and pooped where they were lying. They didn't get up. They just laid there. Jane and her husband look out the window of the camper, and they're standing by a now going fire, a small one, but still going, was a huge silhouette of something. Next day they get up, they go to a gas station, right? And the husband starts talking to the guy, telling him what happened. The guy says, "Ma'am, was it your time of the month?" And she said, "Why do you ask?" Like, that's a weird question to ask. And she says, or he said to her, "Well, they're attracted to women in that time of the month." And she's like, "Huh?" And he goes, "Bigfoot. That's probably what you guys saw." Fucking creepy. Thank you, thank you, 59th. Appreciate that. Edith Swagger, how are you? Thank you. Aw. I wish I was. I wish I was, Andy Davis. What's up, Kevin? How are you, buddy? It's 66 where I am right now, 59th. So it's probably a little chilly out where he is. That's awesome. I'm glad you're doing well, Edith. Julie, did you see my truck that I posted on the channel, my 71? I have a 71 K20 with a Corvette engine in it that's cammed. My dad restored it when he retired and then gave it to me because he can't drive it. It's in my community post. 3 on the tree. Thing's a monster. Thank you, Dad. I love you. I'm a 35-year-old male and grew up in Kansas until I was 12. My grandparents lived in Sedalia, and I would visit them a few times a year and stay for about a week. They had a huge basement, and I would play regularly. And there was one time when I felt tired, so I fell asleep on the couch for a little while. This is the weird part. When I awoke, I looked up to see something strange, and I'll do my best to describe what I saw. It was 5 feet in height, covered in shaggy brown fur, large eyes and teeth. It almost looked like Sweetums from the Muppets. Anyway, I look up and he's tiptoeing toward me. And when he realizes I had woken up, it freezes and then instantly disappeared. I kind of just sat there not realizing what happened or if what I had seen was real or not. I went upstairs after and avoided going down there for a while because I was weirded out. One thing I want to add is that I never felt like it was dangerous. And by the way, there was a blanket at my feet, and I kind of got the impression that it was going to pull the blanket over me, which sounds weird. I did do research, and the best possible answer I could come up with is that it was a brownie or some kind of fae, maybe followed my great-grandparents from Ireland or something. I've never seen a ghost or a UFO or anything cool. This is it, and I have no idea what it was. Well, you saw something cool, buddy. You saw something really cool. Autistic Mim, that means that you contributed to the conversation many times. Deso, how are you? The bigger picture. I'm doing well. Thank you. I'm glad that you're here with us, the bigger picture. Thank you for popping in. Ah, that's an old one. That's an old one, Sumner. You old pervert. Lots of new names, lots of new people tonight. I'm having a good time. You guys are really awesome. Is Five Rings in here? Five Rings! What's up, my brother? Dennis 7, how are you? What up, brother? Kathy, how are you tonight? The Fog, that is classic. Classic. Has anyone seen the fuck? What's the the remake, the new Stephen King vampire movie, the remake? My brain just went dead. I have the book on my bookshelf. Let me think. Not sure. Needful Things? No, not the It. Fuck me in my face. Stop. Go back. God damn it. Stephen King movie. Salem's Lot. Thank you, Simone. Has anyone seen the new Salem's Lot? Holy cow. The original was good. I mean, the book is awesome, but the original movie was good. The new one, oh my God. The new one is just like straight freaking awesome. Straight good. So good. What's up, Garrett? How are you, buddy? Yeah, it's so good. Like, I usually don't like remakes of shit, but I think they did a good job remaking it. Oh my God, I think it's better than the first one. I remember the first one scared me when I was a kid. You're right. Do something diff. The first one scared the living bejesuses out of me. No, it's free, Simone. I think it's on Amazon. Salem's Lot, new one. It's on Max. Where to watch 2024 Salem's Lot. Max, it's on Hulu, Amazon. It's definitely worth 2024, Smitty. Definitely worth the watch. Hey, Goofy movies. You know what scared me the most when I was a kid was Nope is good. Nope is real good. If that's the movie I'm thinking of. Let me see. Nope, the movie. Yeah. Nope and Us in the other one. But the others, not the others. The other Us, Nope, and there's another one that connects it. Dark Waters is new. I like the new shit that he's doing. I'm glad you're not, Aramic. I am so glad you're not. Good funny movie is Troll Hunter. Old Forge. Charbo 12. Hi from Lake George, New York, Charbo. Fellow Adirondacker, buddy. Thank you for joining in, popping in. I appreciate that. I hope you stay. Like and subscribe. I'm just kidding. What's up, Jay Cortez? How are you, buddy? You said no. What scared the shit out of me? Yes. Thank you, WLLC. Chud. Chud scared the living bejesuses out of me. Was just like, I remember my mom and dad in the early 80s, they used to have neighborhood parties. Not like fucking key parties, but neighborhood parties. Maybe they had key parties. I don't know. But I remember being in the living room. We got HBO. Cable had just come out. We had HBO, so I could watch boobies. And Chud came on. And I remember like grabbing my blanket and I had my G.I. Joe guys and I'm watching it. And the first time I saw the freaking underground humanoid dweller, cannibalistic underground humanoid dweller, I nearly shit my pants and I couldn't watch it anymore. Yeah, Garrett. Yeah, there's another thing called Flickr. I think it's on there too. But Chud was so scary. Damn. You have it on DVD? The sequel to Escape from New York. It is the sequel to Escape. yeah, it is. Oh man. Wiley, it's good. It's good. Make sure, I don't know if they did a remake. I don't think they did. It's cheesy as fuck. Basket Case, Bakey, if you ever watch the movie or look up the movie, it actually takes place in the town where I live, Glens Falls, New York. What's up, Juno? How are you? Richard Minnick, how are you tonight, buddy? The VHS films, I like the VHS films. They're good. Jeff, where did that short come? The one you posted with the crawlers in the trees. It was on TikTok. My daughter shared it with me. This happened 17 years ago during summer break. My friend and I went to visit another friend who was staying in this tiny remote village in Belarus for the summer. The house was his grandparents'. The whole place was super isolated. Honestly, it was actually a lot of fun at first. We went swimming at a nearby lake every day, and at night we would stay up late just sitting by the water, listening to the kind of deafening silence you only get on the countryside, and talking for hours. During the day, we would go mushroom picking, explore the area, take pictures, and just make some really good memories together. We stayed for a few weeks, but then one of the friends had to leave early because of some family stuff. The only way out was a bus that came twice a week, and she missed it. So she came back to the friend's house and asked if we could walk with her to the nearby highway to try and hitch a ride. The main road was about 7 miles away. We started walking. When we got there, it was midweek and no cars passed by at all. Guess most people were still at work in the city. As it got later, we decided just to walk back. On the way back, we passed through a few neighboring villages that were half abandoned. Honestly, it was creepy. But we kept ourselves entertained by singing and joking around to keep the fear at bay. It was getting dark, and we still had about 4 miles left. Then we ended up on this road with dense forests on both sides. Suddenly, we start hearing noises coming from the trees. It was pitch dark and honestly very unsettling. We tried to joke about it, but deep down, we all felt something was off. Then my friend pointed, and we saw 2 huge yellow eyes staring at us from the trees. We just kept walking in silence for a bit until one of us said nervously, "Must be some wild fireflies messing with us." We laughed, but we all knew those were definitely not fireflies. Keep in mind, this was well before cell phones, so we couldn't call anybody. We just had to keep moving to get back safely. Oh, here we go. As we got back to the village, 2 of us heard a female voice coming from the forest. We looked at each other, both realizing we had heard it. While the third friend was talking and we didn't notice, I got goosebumps. It sounded so real. And the fact that I wasn't the only one who heard it made it even creepier. We didn't say anything until we got back to the house. Here's where it gets even weirder. Slavic folklore, there's not just the Lashy, a forest spirit who protects the woods and sometimes plays tricks, but also the Rusalka or the Rusalki are a mythological female spirit often connected to lakes and rivers. They are usually described as beautiful women with long hair, sometimes said to lure people, especially at night, with their singing or voices. We'd been hanging out at the lake so many nights, and then to hear a mysterious female voice coming from the trees later on, it definitely made us wonder if we had gotten a little too close to something supernatural. We'll still joke about those unhinged fireflies, but deep down, we all know what we heard and saw, something we cannot explain. Between the abandoned houses, the glowing eyes in the forest, and the eerie voices, it was honestly one of the scariest and strangest experiences of my life. And yeah, I still think about those nights at the lake and wonder what might have been watching or listening to us from the darkness. and then re-emailed you in hopes of getting in contact with you. Harris, Sal 666 or 60. Yes, Harris. If I didn't get your email, I didn't respond to you. That means I didn't get it. I say it numerous times. I say it every live stream or on videos. I don't get everybody's email for some reason. I get like 400 emails a day, and about a third of them are from subscribers. And I go through them every day. I try to respond to them all. And if I didn't respond, it was not your fault and not my fault. I apologize. Please send it again and I will get back to you. If I don't, it means I didn't get it, honestly. Last time I was in Lake George, I was drinking at the Bullpen in Elmo's, worked at the Shoreline in the early 90s. Was Judd's open back then, Charbo? Remember Judd's? I think it was right down the road or right up the road from the Bullpen. It's called Judd's. Thank you, SD. Appreciate that. Anyone know if Dogman can swim? Absolutely, 100% Dogman can swim. And Harris, I do apologize. Like I know sometimes people don't hear me say it, but I do say it. Demonic serpentine horrors. I thought you said Jugs. No, Judd's. It was a buddy of mine named Judd, and he started a bar. Who remembers in Nightmare on Elm Street, Johnny Depp sinks into the bed? Yeah. Awesome. I've had many Dogman experiences. There was that one where the guys were in Alabama. They're fishing. They're like, and they see the fucking Dogman, and it goes under the water. I have no where it went. They don't know where it went at all. There may be a cave under there or something. That definitely is a young Johnny Depp. I think you're right. It was his first one. The only thing that closes evil doorways is the blood of Christ. My friends and I used to have a paranormal research group. We had heard experiences of an old abandoned graveyard. It's on a hill overlooking PD River in South Carolina, Mechanicsville, South Carolina. It had been owned by a church that later burned down and was later relocated. Most of the graves have sunken, and most of the tombstones were broken or gone outright. They placed a huge group marker with the names of the known burials on it. Stories said that it was haunted by a spirit of a young child in antebellum clothes and a black shadow with red eyes tied to the story about a man who brought his victims to the graveyard because it was so remote and killed them. We were excited to be there. When we arrived, first thing we noticed is it was pitch black there. It was so dark you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was because the graveyard was so overgrown in the forest that it blocked out the stars and moon. It was a hot, muggy night, but when you entered the graveyard, the whole thing had a massive cold spot. The temp was about 85, but inside, our thermometers read 62. There was a feeling of dread around the place, like something did not want us there. And then you entered, the air felt thick, like it was resisting you and pushing you back. It was harder and harder to walk further in. Finally, there was a sound like something rushing toward us, and we saw that looked like a black shadow with red eyes moving toward us. We ran out of there, and it was like the trees themselves were against us. It felt like they closed in on us, gripped our clothes, tried to hold on. We finally made it out, and when we went to leave, one of the car batteries was dead, though it was only months old, like something had drained it. We called the local tow truck company, but the driver refused to go until morning because he said it was evil and haunted at night. Anyway, thanks for allowing me to share. I will never go back. PT Lost Boys is not just really good. Lost Boys is the best vampire movie in the world. Lost Boys, greatest movie. There we go. Well, yeah, had to get them going. Little Sister, the Little Sister song. Autistic Man, I've tried to talk to him before, but something doesn't want us to. Let's see how this turns out. Who'd you try to talk to, Aramik? The Little Sister song from Lost Boys, but the remake by Marilyn Manson, real good. Yeah, Autistic Mim, yes. Thank you. I think it's demonic. Who are you talking about, Aramik? What's demonic? I missed it. Missed it. Don't like missing shit. I've heard that. I've heard it of the, I don't know. NASA didn't report it. There is no real NASA reports of it. It's like one of those things that people have said NASA reports it. I've looked for it and cannot find it on any NASA anything. I've tried to find it because I was curious about that because it was quite interesting. I love outer space. Outer space is cool. Like, I want to know more about outer space. I haven't seen Thunderheart. Critters is great. Being intercepted. Fucking A right, Aramik. You got it. You know it. That's why I want to talk to you. I think they deleted, like, I looked all over. I had everywhere. I'm like, and I can't. It's like weird. I got bit by a mosquito in my beard. That's the worst. They hate me, Simone. They truly hate me. I think that's why I haven't had 100,000 yet. I have 40 million views on this channel. This channel has 40 million views. There's channels that have 200,000 subscribers that have like 20 million views. I have 40 million. That's horseshit. Not that I'm doing it. I just want to hit 100,000. I want to have that play button right here. I'm going to put that play button right here. Someday. 42,000 views. Good job. That's more than most people, buddy. That's more than most people. That's really what happened to Dark Waters. If me and James were talking about it one night, and I was like, do you remember, like, I started my channel when James had like 60,000 subscribers. Dark Waters had 60,000 subscribers, and I started my channel back then. And he stayed stagnant for years, right? And then he hit 100,000 and he just fucking exploded, because that's when YouTube will like push your channel out there. My family is whitewater rafting in West Virginia, Ace Adventure for reference. And my stepbrother and I were walking around in the woods after everyone in the campsite had gone to bed, joking about finding Goat Man because we were going across some bike bridge. Anyway, nothing happened, nothing unusual. But after we got past the bridge and walking on the trail, we started hearing a whistling. I thought it sounded like whistling. My brother said he thought it was a girl screaming from behind us. I got a little freaked out, but tried to put it off. But then it was towards the right direction of the campsite, so I rationalized it as being the family trying to scare us. But then it moved back to behind us and then to the left, and it kept changing directions and sounding as if it was getting closer. I started telling him that it's messed up and freaky, so I picked up the pace and we made it back to the campsite, and it just stopped completely. We hung around the fire for a bit and nothing happened after that. I was in my tent, decided to share this. I'm not scared of too much. I'm a little creeped out. Part of me wants to go back out into the woods and see if I hear it again. Anyway, I always believed in Bigfoot and other cryptids, but I always heard about whistling in the woods and thought that was more Native American spiritual. Anyway, just wanted to share. How to Adult by Grandma. I have no subs. I got 3 views on my Rockefeller Ruined Healthcare video. Sad. Oh, I'll check it out. It's weird because like there's people that don't do videos that have subs. Eating like a gremlin. You know what? We're 2.5 hours in. I have no videos on 100. That's crazy. YouTube's weird. The algorithm on YouTube is very weird. It's very strange. All right. Shaun of the Dead. I remember that movie. Is it time for the last Lot Lizard story? 28 Days Later is one of the best movies. Garrett, yeah, the Russian army did a scientific thing on that. That's crazy, SD. I know they did. You probably did, because James and I are very good friends. And not just because the channels. Like, I honestly, like, that's weird, because, like, you know, like, in the Cryptid Paranormal thing, people become friends with other channels to become bigger. They do it for like whatever that word, clout. But like when James and I first started talking, he and I hit it off. Like we are two different people. I'm from upstate New York. He's from fucking Louisiana. I'm a fucking idiot white guy from upstate New York. He's a really smart black guy from Louisiana. But he and I vibe, like his persona and my personality, we like clicked. We became instant friends. Instant. Like I got sick one time and he sent me chaga tea. And that was like when we first started talking. He's an amazing individual. He's just, to me, I know there's people that don't like him, but And I think that's because they don't know him, you know. You only know people from the channel, you know what I'm saying? But like, to know him is to really love him. He's one of the most humblest, caring people I know on YouTube. And that's why I don't make friends. The Wraith is a great movie with Charlie Sheen. Good night, Wesley September. Jeff, was it a spirit of a cryptid that destroyed the Soviet Union? I don't know, DL. I'm not really sure. I'll get back to you on that one. Jan Michael Vincent. Holy shit, Airwolf. All right, so is it time for the last lot lizard story? Do we want the last lot lizard story? Or should we just not do it tonight? Yes, no, maybe? So put it away. You guys want to put it away? Okay. The fluorescent glow of the stop-and-go Big Rig Oasis cast a sickly yellow pillar over the asphalt, illuminating discarded chip bags and the occasional rogue tumbleweed of diesel exhaust. This was Lizzo's empire, a woman who wore more rhinestones than a rodeo queen and whose heart surprisingly beat solely for Earl. Earl, a trucker whose gut was as formidable as his 18-wheeler, and whose tenderness for Lizzo was an open secret amongst the greasy spoons and grumbling engines. Tonight, however, wasn't about love, nor about the usual dance of the lot lizard. Tonight, the air itself felt heavy, thick with the scent of fried onion and an undercurrent of something wild. Lizzo, perched on the passenger side of Earl's rig, adjusting her sequenced bra, heard old man Jenkins talking about strange goings-on. She mused, picking a chipped nail. Said Bigfoot's been around the gas pumps again. Earl grunted, polishing his dashboard bobblehead of a scantily clad mermaid. Bigfoot's got nothing on prices of a good shower these days. Now that's horror. Their easy banter was interrupted by a shriek that was not human. Not entirely. It was a guttural, leathery screech, followed by the sound of breaking glass from the convenience store. A collective gasp rippled through the few truckers loitering outside. What in the trucker's atlas was that? Earl mumbled, his hand instinctively going for a rusty pipe wrench under his seat. A shadowy form filled past the store's broken window quick as a thought. Then it emerged, bathed in a sickly yellow light. Bat Boy, the genuine article. Not just a crumpled National Enquirer headline, but a living, breathing nightmare. He was small, no bigger than a large dog, but shockingly muscled. His skin was a molted gray, like old shoe leather, stretched taut over a skeletal frame. Huge leathery wings pulsed behind him, and his face was just a horror. Oversized, luminescent eyes, a flattened nose, and a gaping maw filled with needle-sharp teeth. He landed on the hood of a Ford F-150, his claws digging into the metal, leaving gouges. A collective gasp rose from the truckers, quickly turning into panicked shouts. Holy mother of diesel, Earl roared, his usual laid-back demeanor replaced by wide-eyed terror. Lizzo, surprisingly, was the first to react. Her initial shock gave way to a hardened glint in her eye. That's it! That's the scariest monster. Looks like my ex-husband after a 3-day bender. Before anyone else could react, Bat Boy launched himself toward the pot-bellied trucker named Bubba, who had been attempting to light a cigarette with trembling hands. Bubba, known more for his endless flatulence than his agility, froze. Bubba, run! Someone shrieked, but it was too late. Bat Boy, with the speed that defied his gangly limbs, latched onto Bubba's ample midsection. There was a sickening tearing sound, a gargling, and then Bat Boy began to eat. With horrifying precision, the creature tore into Bubba, his sharp teeth working with speed that was almost comical in its brutality. Bits of Bubba's checkered shirt and, well, Bubba threw through the air. The monster devoured him with a ravenous hunger of a teenager at an all-you-can-eat buffet. The other truckers, initially stunned, scattered like pigeons, scrambling for their safety of their cabs. Earl, despite his terror, grabbed Lizzo and pulled her lower. "He's eating Bubba! He's eating Bubba!" he whispered, his voice a reedy shriek. Lizzo watched, a grimace on her face. "Well, at least he's finally getting a balanced meal. Bubba was mostly pork rinds." Her eyes darted around, assessing the situation. "All right, Earl, listen. You got an extra can of bear spray in from Yellowstone in here?" Earl nodded frantically, fumbling under his seat. Yeah, but it's for bears, Lizzo, not that." He gestured wildly toward the creature, still feasting on the remaining parts of Bubba. "Honey, those claws and that appetite is close enough," Lizzo snapped, prying a handful of loose rhinestones from her pocket. "Now, when I say go, you spray that thing right at that ugly glowing eyes, and I create a diversion." Before Earl could protest, Lizzo, with surprising bursts of speed, jumped out of the truck. "Hey, ugly, you want a real snack?" she yelled, throwing a handful of sparkling gems at Bat Boy. The rhinestones glittered against his leathery skin, startling him mid-chew. He hissed, the sound like dry leaves skittering across pavement, and his red eyes locked onto Lizzo. "Now, Earl!" Lizzo bellowed, already diving for cover behind a stack of oil barrels. Earl sputtered, but the sight of his beloved in danger unscrewed the cap of bear spray with a trembling hand. As Bat Boy launched himself toward Lizzo with terrifying intent, Earl aimed, squeezed, and unleashed a powerful stream of aerosol bear pepper spray. The orange mist hit Bat Boy full on in the face. The effect was instantaneous and dramatic. The creature shrieked a sound of pure agony, flailing wildly. His leather skins beat erratically, sending gusts of wind, and the distinct smell of Bubba's last meal wafted through the air. He clawed at his face, stumbled, and then, with one last ear-splitting shriek, launched himself into the night sky, disappearing into the oppressive darkness beyond the truck stop. Silence descended, broken only by the distant hum of an idling truck and the frantic hammering of Earl's heart. He rushed to Lizzo, pulling her ever so tight. You okay? You okay, my love?" Lizzo patted his back, still a little breathless. "Fine, Earl. Just another Tuesday night at the Oasis." She peered out from behind the oil barrels at a gory, greasy mess where Bubba had been. "Well, that's going to be a pain in the ass to clean up, and I guess we're out of Bubba." Earl looked at her, then back at the stains on the asphalt. "Think the National Enquirer will print our story?" "Only if they get my good side," Lizzo winked, then sighed, already planning her next move. "First, we got to hose the lot down. Then I think I deserve a double cheeseburger. And maybe a new set of rhinestones. Those things are expensive, you know." Earl just chuckled, pulling her closer. At the stop-and-go Big Rig Oasis, life and love found a way to endure, even after a monster from a tabloid ate Bubba. Because, after all, what's a little Bat Boy when you've got each other and a good pipe wrench? Bat Boy. Tommy, how are you? Thank you, SD. Thank you. Savage, how are you? Jason, how are you? Puckludgies. Massachusetts, I'm guessing. I keep trying to come up with Wilburn! I keep trying to come up with better, like, creatures or enemies for Lizzo to fight. Brian Mons. Brian Mons. Brian Mons is from the land of Puckwudgies, too. I heard that Brian actually has one chained to his floor under his bed. And every once in a while, he gets his tape measure out and spanks the little bastard. Not tape measure, ruler. Gives a little spanking. And it likes it. It goes ass up. How about a rabid unicorn? Ooh-wee. Yes, ma'am. We'll have to do that one next week. No, under your bed, Brian. Under your bed. Don't be fucking trying to trick us now. It's under the bed. And this is what we hear. Ass up of the Puckwudgie. Puckwudgie. Flatardo Von Braun. How are you? Ha ha. What a beautiful name that is. Thank you for making me say it twice. Here's a crop. We all have Christian. Unicorn meat. Ooh, unicorn meat. Ooh. Spanky, spanky, spanky. Just once though. Just once. I don't like the marks they leave behind. I don't just jump to thinking everything is weird, cryptid, paranormal, but something was just on our roof and it was loud and I couldn't see it. Our home is a ranch, 1 story, and I was on the back porch very close to the house door. I was waiting for my fiance to come back inside from the garage. I had a flashlight on as I had just been checking on my outdoor animals. And all of a sudden, I heard a huge, loud thump right above my head on the roof. I jumped and took a couple steps forward to be able to look up at the roof. There was nothing there. I froze just listening. And then I heard loud footsteps on the roof. There was nothing there. Putting that in caps because I can't stress enough how loud it was. Our 3 dogs that were inside the house started barking and freaking out, so I know they heard it as well. I was literally staring up at where the sound was coming from, flashlight on, but there was nothing there, not a dang thing. I could literally hear the shingles/roof creaking under the weight of whatever the hell this was, and it sounded like it was right there in front of my eyes. I'm talking a matter of feet away from me. Then I did a stupid thing. Instead of just going in the house, I screamed for my fiance. He came running out of the garage. He didn't see anything either, kicking myself, though, for reacting so stupidly. But I was really scared to even take a step out the door because that would have brought me closer to the sound. We checked all sides of the house together, armed, did not see a thing. Our dogs were still quite upset when we came back in. Now I am a wildlife rehabber, and I know firsthand how large raccoons can get, but this was not a raccoon. There's no way I would have seen it. What else could it have possibly been? Full disclosure, I was literally listening to an episode about Dogman right before going outside, but I didn't imagine how loud or how close the footsteps could have been. Any thoughts? Don't be giving Brian Mons any ideas, John Sumner. God damn it. Don't give him. He doesn't need to use a metal ruler on the Puckwudgie. Just because you use a yardstick on your Bigfoot that's trapped under your bed, you stop it now. Good night there, Wolf. Yes, there is an obelisk in Central Park. Brian Mons, Jesus, no, don't do it. Don't take after Sumner. Sumner literally drives a white van through the woods looking for more Bigfoot to abduct. He's a bad man. Don't do it. There we go. God damn it. Where is one place I would not go? I don't know, to be honest with you. Where is one place I wouldn't go? Delirium, have a great night. Thank you for being with us tonight. I hope you're feeling better. One place I wouldn't go. To be honest, I honestly, going to the Conjuring House and spending as much time as I do where Tom Mezek disappeared, I don't think there is a place that I don't want to go to. I honestly, I don't think there's a place that scares me. I mean, I would obviously be a little like, but. Connection between the Appalachian Mountains and Dogman and other. Mac Mark, are you new to the channel, my friend? Because I've shared this and it's actually a great question. So this goes out to Mac Mark. So my whole view on the Appalachia is, one, there's something very, very similar and very evil there. Obviously, the Appalachian Trail goes, not many people know, but like it goes all the way to Maine, but part of it actually touches a little bit of the Adirondacks. I didn't know that until like a year ago. I believe that there is a powerful, especially down in the Appalachia region, I think there's some sort of dark force there that I think these creatures are drawn to. I think my belief on this is, a major thing is, I think drug addiction and mental illness have a lot to do with people's encounters. And I think that after the government got done with using the Appalachian people and their land for coal mining and other kinds of mining and stuff, addiction, or when Big Pharma came in and set up the hillbilly heroin shops, I think that when everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people became addicted, a lot of people became depressed. I think that's when a lot more sightings came. But I think they've been drawn to that area because of whatever haints or whatever kind of evil, I guess, is there, because it's something's there, obviously, and it's known. So that's my thing. I don't know if it made much sense, but, and welcome to the channel. Like, I really, honestly, like, I'm not an expert by any means. I've had my own experience in 1994, and strangely enough, right after my experience is when my addiction to heroin and opiate pills became a thing. I was 17. I didn't stop until I was 39. But during that whole time, I was actively researching things, and reading and learning as much as I could. When I got sober, I started to look, 9 years ago, I started to look at, was that possibly did my addiction possibly have a correlation to my experience? And then I started to look into these attacks that are happening, like Brenda Hamilton, Amber Miller, Tony Aarons, Dr. Nancy Shaw, and like Christopher Whiteley in Texas. And I started to notice that certain people's attacks, like Amber Miller and Tony Aarons from Cott County, Tennessee. They really felt it necessary to mention their addiction or their mental illness. I just think that there's a really, and people I've interviewed, a lot of them have had addiction issues, and it's nothing to be embarrassed of. I mean, it's like, it's nowadays and age, it's not anything to be embarrassed of. I think that when people overcome their addiction, it's a great thing. When people are addicted and still fighting, I think I commend them for wanting sobriety, and I commend them for being strong for seeking it out. I don't know. Shauna Rain, are you new to the channel too? Because like that, those are all videos that I have done on this channel in the last 8 years, and interviewed people on them too. What's up, Olivia? Olivia's bro. How are you? Congratulations, Brian Mons. Congratulations. Which one, SDL? My experience early in 2000, North Oklahoma, that state beast found out recent years. Oklahoma's had its share. Yeah, it's had its share. From a Bigfoot channel. Awesome, Mac Mark. I appreciate you. Oklahoma. There was an account in Oklahoma where, strangely enough, a woman was in her front yard, attacked broad daylight. Nobody saw the dogs that attacked her. They fucking ripped her to shreds. Nobody saw any dogs. There were no dogs. But this huge lot behind her house with a pond. And I believe that was a dogman attack, 100%. Certainly, I don't tell anyone jack in my area of operation about my past. I always regret it when I do. Your boy, I agree with you. I'm not afraid to, like, I don't care if people know that I was an addict for 22 years. You know what I mean? Like, I've come to that, like, I just don't fucking care. I did when I was using actively. And I know exactly what you're talking about. People have a weird look about it yet. Like, it's always interesting to see, because it's always the assholes that fucking downlook addicts who have gotten sober. They're usually the active alcoholic or the fucking wife beater or the kid beater. They're no better than us. Actually, they're probably fucking worse than us. Because when I was using, I never stole anything. I never fucking did shit like that. I just used drugs, like I didn't hurt anybody. Do you think dogman footage on the deep web? I've not seen any. I've actually looked. 18 years clean. Awesome. Thank you, Olivia's bro. You're giving me hope. You give me hope. Even though I'm coming up on 10, like I never will forget. It's fucking right there. It's one fucking pill or one fucking snort away. Like, I never booted dope, but I snorted a ton. Like, I was up to like $200 a day, maybe a little more sometimes. Just on dope. Not pills were way expensive. Fuck, I couldn't afford pills. I was doing dirty H. Can dogmen disappear like Bigfoot as well? I think so. I think they all, dogmen, yes, can use portals. I don't think Bigfoot just fucking disappears randomly. I think there's portals that they use. I agree with you, your boy. 100%. 24 years clean. Awesome. Rob's in LA. Awesome, man. Fuck. That is amazing. Like DL, have a good night, buddy. It's actually 2:51 here, but you be good. I'm glad that you were here with us, DL Hemingway. Stay well. Don't let your meatloaf, and rock on. Rock on with the rock on. 1 year today. I was on for 20 years. Casinos, cryptids, and conspiracies. Congratulations. 1 year today. 1 year today. Fucking A, man. Fucking A. 1 year. Awesome. Awesome. Brian Mons, I heard that if you hit your puckwudgie more than 3 times, it doesn't count. But be careful of chafing. The little puckwudgie is a sensitive being. He's a sensitive being. Biggest dogman I've ever heard. Real encounter or creepypasta. Because there's creepypasta channels out there, and people will say, and actually, like, you would not believe the amount of emails that I've gotten in the last fucking week about creepypasta channels and people thinking they're real. And I'm like, bro, that is a creepypasta channel. The biggest one I've ever heard was close to 9 feet. Close to 9 feet. I would have to say Truth Quest, that's a creepypasta. Because I have never heard of a Bigfoot or a dogman being 15 feet. I would honestly have to say creepypasta 100%. 9 feet is probably the biggest I've ever heard. I mean, Nephilim start at 12 to 18 feet, so I don't believe that either. I don't believe a 12-foot dogman either. Nephilim are 12 to 15 to 18 feet, like Julie just said. I don't buy that, like I don't buy, like, my grandpa sitting on the porch in Texas and fucking Dick Me Dreads channels and all these other crazy channels that tell creepypastas that people believe are real. Like, I don't buy it. They seem real. They look real. They smell real. Maybe they feel real, but they're not real. I would say Goliath was possibly a Nephilim, but in the Bible, I don't think there ever was any mention of Goliath having powers. You may have, Truth Quest. I'm not doubting it. I'm just saying, personally, like, right ear to ear, ear to mouth, like, or I'm not arguing with you about it. I'm just saying. Brian Mons got that one. Yeah, it's a lot different. Truth Quest. I have never heard of a 15-foot or 12-foot dogman. Just my own, and I'm not saying I'm an expert. I mean, even Tim Baker has never heard of something that big, Just saying. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying. I appreciate the input. Trust me, believe me, Truth Quest. I love you. And I value your support and stuff. So I am not talking about Swamp Donkey. But I would say Goliath, back to the Bible. I don't think the Bible ever says Goliath had any kinds of powers. So I don't know. Maybe he was just a giant. I know that, like, biblical Nephilim or the Nephilim, like, all had some sort of power. I don't know if all giants, you know what I mean? Like, that's hard to, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I have my own views and ideas. So maybe. No, Nephilim are not giants. Nephilim are large. Nephilim are different than giants, Sonia. Nephilim are much different than giants. Giants don't have powers. Nephilim do. There was another one, Samara. The Nephilim, the Raphaim, and the... let me dig in here. The Anakim. And they were the Anakim described as another group of giants mentioned in the Bible, specifically identified as descendants of the Nephilim. Link between... Okay, so in biblical context, the term Nephilim is associated with giants, but they are not exactly the same thing. While Nephilim are described as being large of stature and strength, the term itself can also be interpreted as fallen ones, potentially linked to the fallen angels. Giants, on the other hand, are simply beings of exceptional size. While some may be associated with Nephilim, the term itself doesn't carry a supernatural or fallen connotation. Because there was like ancient tribes. There's ancient tribes and there's ancient tribes in Africa that are giants, but they're not Nephilim. Well, like there's been races of giants. Do I think Dogman is in Antarctica? Possibly. If I don't know, maybe there's like labs. So yeah. I knew someone was going to say it. I knew someone was going to put it together. I knew Skywalker would get mentioned. That's not true. Oh, God. Okay. Yes, I'll agree. I'll agree with you, Julie. I'm not even gonna go anymore on that comment. One-way top and giants, Nephilim, but there's stories of 5-finger giants. Well, there's stories of 6-finger ones too, your boy. How many 411s? I don't think I have to agree with David Politis. I have to agree with David Politis on that. I don't believe there's a large percentage of missing 411 that are attributed to Dogman. I used to think it was like a huge number, but not anymore. The more reading and looking at things, I don't believe that maybe a very small percent. I think the majority of the 411s are portals and abductions. That's just my belief. I used to literally think that Tom Mezek was abducted by a fucking Dogman, 100%. I had a hard on for Dogman when I first started the channel. Like, I blamed Dogman for everything. The more and more I did this and started to look at things a different way, I was like, nah, there's much more scarier things in this world than Dogman, 100%. Funny story, your boy, I know, funny story. What would you call a guy that has a thumb coming off of his thumb? My daughter's boyfriend bought a car off this guy, right? And his grandpa took him, and he paid the guy his money, right? And he goes, "Did you see that guy's? He had two thumbs." And and her boyfriend told me the story, and I'm like claws? And he said, "Yeah, very similar to claws." So would that be the sixth finger? It's just a joke. Obviously, I know it, but it was just funny. And then I said, what if he started running after he took your money for the car and said, "Money, I love money"? Like, fucking, I thought a lobster boy. And then I'm like, Mr. Krabs. I'm like, holy shit. And you happen to hand him a fucking chunk of money. So he's like running around with his little two thumbs. Money. The rake is a crawler. The rake is a crawler, Crusade in Christ. The rake was written, the name The Rake was actually created by a creepypasta guy named Tobias Wade. He coined that name, and it was actually 59th. It was by Tobias Wade. But it is AI stuff. But the crawler is a real creature, very similar to a alien gray. I think they are reptilian gray DNA mixed. If you see a staircase in the woods, it's probably you're listening to a lot of creepypastas, Shauna Rain. There's staircases in the woods, but they're usually like old buildings that have fallen down. Like the Corpse Husband 3-hour park ranger story is a creepypasta. Thank you, Truth Quest. Where do crawlers come from? My own belief is they come from creature like alien gray and reptilian creatures created them, possibly with human DNA. I mean, they look very similar to a reptile and a alien gray and a human. But Truth Quest, that I thank you. I love that. Please email it to me if you could, Sonia. If you don't mind. What's a creepypasta? Anything written by like an author. Thank you, Sonia. anything written like not a real story, like urban legends. It actually comes from like copy paste. Somehow creepypasta came from the term copy and paste. I don't know how that is, but it's made up. Tobias Wade is an amazing creepypasta author. There's some really crazy stories that sound real, like will fool people. Like the 3 hour on Corpse Husband Park Ranger story, that is fucking cool. I have listened to it a few times when I was younger, and periodically I'll listen to it just to listen to it. But it's not real. Just be careful if you go in the woods. There's a lot of scary shit in the woods. Okay, I found one time, here's the craziest thing that I've ever seen in the woods. I was hiking where Tom Nezek disappeared, the 411 in the Adirondacks. David Paulides had it in his movie, The Hunted. My uncle was the undersheriff interviewed in that movie. I'm hiking and I'm on the trail. I'm on Lily Pond Trail. And I showed you guys the video of where the trees are all bent. I fucking turned into the woods. I have no idea why I chose to turn into those woods. I just turned and I started hiking. Like I had to crawl up the fucking rock face. And if you watch the video, I show you where the walls are of these rocks that I'm climbing. I get to the top. Well, not the top. I get to like a flat part where I can stand and look down. I'm about 100 feet up. And there are 3 rocks stacked on each other. There's a big boulder that's set into the ground, and then a rock on top of that, and then another rock on top of that. And I'm like, that's really weird. I have no explanation for it because there was never a trail where I just went. I randomly just picked a spot to turn and go into the woods. Like I was like, I'm going to go into the woods randomly and just go. And that's what happened. Ten gauge. Yeah, I'd love to hear your Northern New York. Where are you in Northern New York? Are you close to Lake George? Or are you like up by Messina and that way? Malone. So it depends on what you're more afraid of, Scooby. Because, like, I mean, honestly, like, you could say Bigfoot's the alpha, Dogman's an alpha, crawlers are alphas. I don't ever want to see a crawler. I never want to see a crawler. I don't know, like, Messina. I love Messina, brother. I fucking love Messina. Messina is great. I have family that lives in Hogansburg. On the res. I know Messina well. Yeah, I would Nephilim obviously would be an alpha. Jeff, have you ever episode of the Coast to Coast Art Bell show from? Yeah. My grandpa used to live there or listen to it when I was. My grandpa used to listen to the AM, and he listened to fucking Paul Harvey. I was thinking about moving up to Messina, actually. No kidding. Brasher. Is that by Alcoa? I love Paul Harvey. I still listen to old Paul Harvey. There's a on Spotify, you can listen to old Paul Harvey stuff. No, but I got chased by a van that was a government van. Me and Isabel did. Near Helena. Okay. Helena. Is Helena towards Fort Covington? Man, we're having a great night tonight, guys. Holy shit, new people. More towards Bombay. Okay. All right. I'm vaguely familiar with that area. I'm more familiar with like Covington. Malone. Coast to coast is like the ultimate. When people like when people talk about YouTubers and like the best YouTube researchers and shit, I don't think anybody compares. Anybody on YouTube right now, nobody compares to what Art Bell did. Nobody. There is nobody that can touch what he did. He is like the godfather of bringing information to the masses. Like, I do not believe anyone could even touch what he did. And just Art Bell, nobody else, because he did it by himself in the basement on an AM station. Thank you, San Fran. Appreciate that, brother. Dude, that's awesome, your boy, Roy Boy. Thank you. Wow, that is so cool. I never thought that freaking they would do that. Phoenix Fire, yes, absolutely. Art Bell is the fucking GOAT. You're absolutely right, Wilburn. So amazing. There's I periodically can find old shows. I think you can find them on Spotify too. Davey Ward, how are you? No, I didn't. I did not. I wish I did. That sounds like a good show. Cornwall has had very little experiences. You're right, 10 gauge. Speaking of the Appalachia in New York, here we go. I'm from Hazard, or not New York, Appalachia. I'm from Hazard, Kentucky, actually Perry County, but basically the same, which is a part of the Appalachian Mountains. My parents live very deep in the mountains, and I began seeing odd things in their home as easy as 5 years old. My mom also grew up here and reports that odd, haunted type of things have always gone on at the house. I was never really allowed to watch horror movies about ghosts or shows like Ghost Hunters growing up because of the nature of the house. And I slept with my mom until I was about 13 because I was scared after seeing so many things at home. One night, however, we decided to watch Ghost Adventure Waverly Hills episode. That night, I woke up at 3 a.m. to the feeling that something was watching me. I could feel it as soon as I woke up. The feeling of evil and malice was in the air. I rolled over and locked eyes with something standing beside my mom's bed. Its skin was inhumanly pale, and this is coming from a redhead. It was slouched over and seemed as if it would never be able to be straightened again. Its skin looked as if its bones were sticking out. Its fingers were extremely long and seemed to have claws. The face was sunken in and the eyes hollow black holes seemingly. It appeared to have a few greasy-looking hairs on its head, totally naked, but no genitals that I could see. I stupidly left my mom to fend for herself and covered myself totally under the covers. I lied awake the whole night, sweating bullets. My mom woke the next day and raised her shirt and asked what in the world happened. She had claw marks down her side. They were so bad they were bloody, and the fingers looked as though they had been stacked on each other. Almost, I wish I had a photo. But at the time this happened, it was probably around 2007. That would have placed me around 7 or 8. Cameras weren't around as much or in your face like they are today. Prior to this, I saw the creature once beforehand, but it did not injure anyone. One night I awoke and I saw it on my side of the bed. I hid under the covers that night as well. But when I dared peek out, it was still there hours later. This was before the first incident I described, and once again, it did not hurt me or anyone else. It was gone the next morning when daylight hit, and I finally came out from underneath the covers. The experience reads fake, but this is very much real indeed. I never saw the creature again after that incident where it did harm my mom. But every time I drive down a dark back road, I think of it. I know I was not asleep, imagining things that I saw. I wanted to share my experience to find out more about these things. Anyway, I know it sounds stupid, but the best comparison is the creature called the crawler. It almost looks identical, but this was inside of my house, not in the woods. I got those, SDL. I got those. Okay. AG, I got your email. Gringo, got your email tonight. Sumner, got your video. Okay. I do have those that you sent me, SDL. Yes, in Central Park, SDL. Hang on. I have the experience saved on my phone. Hang on. Hang on a second. Where is it? I have one on Shelter Island. I did one on Shelter Island. The girl had one on Shelter Island. God damn it, where is it? Hang on. I know I have it. There's one in Russell, St. Lawrence, Upstate. Rome. Dogman. Conklin. Where the fuck? Anyway, it was in New York City, and what happened was it was early fucking maybe 40s, and it had actually ran into a police officer. I don't think I have it saved on this phone. Hang on. I don't have it on this phone. I think I have it on my other phone downstairs in my other studio. There's a few that is in a few better or shelter. All right, STL. This is in Shelter Island. I'll find the other one. I do want that info, 10 gauge. I do want the info. Do you need my email? SDL. What I'll do is I will send you that experience via email so you can read it, okay? Savage Lunatic, have a good night. All right, you're close to Shelter Island, though. SDL, right? Yeah. If you're closer to Shelter Island than I am. All right, so this is Shelter Island. I had the girl that had the experience. I had her on my show. Little bit of backstory. I was born and raised a Long Islander. So are my parents. They met out east, which is inlander talk, means east end of island. To any New York City rich kid, that means the Hamptons. But for the rest of us who are coincidentally not millionaires, it means North Fork. Not to get geography confused, but Long Island is a Long Island that forks off about 3/4 of the way down the 90 miles it stretches. It kind of looks like a fish with its mouth open, with the North Fork being where the eyes are, and the Hamptons, its jaw, even though fish do not have jaws. Shelter Island is somewhere in the middle, like a smaller fish about to be eaten. Honestly, just save yourself a lot of contemplating and Google it. So, Mom's family had a summer house on the North Fork. My dad's had a house on Shelter Island. My parents met working at summer job, and the rest is history. But super long explanation short, I grew up getting to pretend to be a bougie because I had not one but two summer houses. I know, right? Shelter Island is my favorite place. In a lot of ways, just the island itself feels magical. The only access is by ferry, and while traveling there, you feel like you are being transported into a different world. But the picture of Shelter Island in the summer is very different than the winter. In the summer, the population rises to about 20,000, but in winter, no more than 2. There is something like 14 students in the graduating class. The people there literally dress up like each other for Halloween. This doesn't necessarily pertain to my encounter, but it's really creepy and makes you wonder just how involved my encounter could be with the locals. Anyway, I was 13. I had invited my best friend, Lauren, and to come out with my family. That weekend, I was excited as it was my first time Lauren was able to come with me. I remember our bathroom was being renovated, So the only other bathroom we could use was a dank, dark basement one. That's the only connection to the house, was going outside and down the stairs to another set of stairs. So it had to have been around 10 o'clock, and we went together to the bathroom to brush our teeth. The moon was almost full, so bright it provided some light on the island. We probably would have passed the creature altogether without realizing, because out there you can hardly see 2 feet in front of you when it's dark. As we were coming back up the stairs laughing about something minimal was when we saw it. It was about 10 feet away with its back to us, lurking near my shed. We both froze and did that thing where you literally take a quick breath and hold it involuntarily. That made the creature notice us. Its head whipped around and its eyes were glowing, kind of a blood red. It didn't look angry per se, but rather like a feral dog not knowing how to react to these 2 idiot girls observing it, almost as if it was not scared of us. It slowly rose up to its full size, which I was guessing to about 7.5 feet. The whole time it never broke eye contact. I felt like I could fall into the pits of its blood red eyes. It was covered in long, shaggy black fur. It had legs like the beast. After standing there frozen in terror for at least a full minute, all while still staring in a staring contest, we both regained control of our feet and ran up the stairs screaming for my parents that we saw a werewolf. We saw a werewolf. My dad went out first and we followed. My dad quickly dismissed it and went back inside, a bit disgruntled. I could have sworn I saw a bush where it was move. Over the years, I have had many theories, one of which the natives who lived on the island well before the Caucasians are responsible, as a shape-shifting legend are prevalent in the indigenous cultures. However, shapeshifters in native legend usually chose to be so, very unlike this creature that we saw. Maybe it was descendants of the people who stole the land from, cursed to turn into one of these creatures, choosing isolation to protect their secret. Anyway, thanks. So, Shelter Island, buddy. I will send that experience probably tomorrow when I get it sent to you. All right. 3.5 hours, my longest live stream yet. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you to all the new people tonight. Wow, it was really great. Like, holy cow. I didn't mean to sound like an idiot there. Wow, really great. Holy cow. But I had a lot of fun. So thank you guys. And happy birthday to 59th. To Gilly or Danny, Amanda, happy birthday. I'll see you next Saturday. And thank you. And to sound like Ozzy Osbourne from the 80s, I love you all. But no, I really do. Thank you guys. No, this is not on X. No, sir. 100th birthday. Happy belated Lost in Space. Oh, no shit. Huh. All right, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you next week. And thank you once again.